And good evening to all you out there. My name is Commander Yannick, and this is the Apollo 15 expedition. As you can see, this is the flotilla I'm in at the moment. This is flotilla number 3, and it's pretty, isn't it? The high nebulas in the background. Who's asking in the chat this upside down? Well, somebody's upside down, but it ain't me. Most ships are the right way up, I think. Yeah, oh, it's BE8. Hey BE8, how's it going? Thanks for everyone in the chat as well. Everyone watching on Twitch, I hope you're having a good one. This is being watched not just on Twitch generally, but by members of the expedition as well. And I will start my address probably in about 12 minutes time, but we're all sort of forming up into our different flotilla formations, which is getting ready for the launch mass jump. This particular jump is coming at the end of, a very short meet really compared to the normal sort of 2-hour affairs we do on most expeditions, but the launch events tend to be somewhat shorter. This is about an hour in length approximately, so they've already started, but everyone's forming up nicely, and it looks like it's going all right. Fingers crossed. Famous last words, I know. But it's definitely a nice place to have it. There's a good array of ships. You've got the big guns like, corvettes and cutters, to the very sort of traditional expedition fare of the Asp Explorers and the crates of various kinds, anacondas as well. It's, as you probably hear in the background, various people getting ready to jump in the not too distant future. So the idea with this is that we usually sort of meet up, have fun at the beginning, which is kind of now, and after a little bit I do a very brief talk on the history of exploration in space, usually like real life, but sometimes there's things that were dreamed of but never happened, but this is very real. Obviously this is concerning ourselves with Apollo 15 and what led up to Apollo 15 as well. But we're all fans of space because that's why we're here. The thing with Elite, it's a very sort of time-consuming game. I mean, you wouldn't really be doing it unless you actually were quite committed. And because they say it's not something that you can really sort of learn in 5 minutes. Whichever way the orientation goes. The thing is, that's the thing with space, isn't it? There is truly no up or down. It's all relative to where you are. This is one flotilla group amongst several today. They say so far we've got 500 different sign-ups. I think we're pushing like 550, 560 the last time I checked. It could well be more by now. Approximately. As I say, it's happening so fast at the moment. Thank you for everyone who has signed up to the expedition. You're all most welcome. Some of you I recognise from previous trips. A lot of you I have never met before, but you're all delightful. But obviously for those of you who aren't so much aware of what we're doing, I mean, this is a 50-year anniversary celebration of the epic real-life Apollo 15 flight, which many have considered to be like the high watermark of exploration, human exploration of our solar system, as of now, the early 21st century. And you can see why, but that will become more and more apparent over time if you're not already familiar with this particular leap into the unknown that they did. I think most people tend to be fairly familiar with what happened with Apollo 11, because obviously that's the most famous one. And understandably so, the first step on another world other than our own is epic and very rightfully so considered to be truly groundbreaking. But yeah, so this expedition is a trip of elite, trip of elite explorers, winging our way across the galaxy, probably fairly near the bubble I describe it as being. We end up being, our trip's 19,000 light years. In a straight line, it's only about 8,000, but we go the long way around for many things to see, many interesting, weird and wonderful sights along our way. Hence, an expedition that's good for veterans and beginners alike. Also, we are doing both Horizons and Odyssey instances other than today, which is the launch, but for simplicity's sake, everything's being done in Horizons for this particular meeting. Just to keep it nice and simple, just because we know the intersync a lot better actually in Horizons than we do in Odyssey. We've tested a little bit for Odyssey, we just really don't know enough about it or how reliable it truly is. But with Horizons, we have like years of sort of mental databases about what it is, how it behaves, etc., etc. Some very sort of beautiful paint jobs as well. A lot of these ships. Ooh, just collided with a ship there in the distant camera. You can see the all-seeing eyes to the left there. That sort of, red eye shape of Barnard's Loop. I think also with a few nebula contained within it, like the Orion Nebula. Well, from this perspective, that's the way it looks anyway. But it's an amazing sight, it truly is. But yeah, the celebration of Apollo 15 seemed to be something that I think a lot of people who know a lot about space exploration, the history of it, will probably recognize it as being an amazing trip. But yeah, I think Apollo 11, Apollo 13 tend to be more famous trips. Even Apollo 17 to some degree being the last one actually is more famous, but it shouldn't necessarily be so. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes these things kind of fall through the cracks. To some degree anyway. Just look around a bit more. See this sort of gas giants over there. But the High Nebula itself just envelops us completely. And the other gas giant over to that side. But this is the thing about Elite. It is truly a beautiful game. Also, as been said in like the build-up and the literature to this expedition, this is something of a last hurrah as far as big expeditions are concerned in the Horizons sort of era, the Horizons tech, because obviously when Horizons came out, it gave us the opportunity to land on all these planets that just weren't accessible before. You could never land on anything in the base game. So it opened up a whole new opportunity for these different trips to happen. Expeditions started from people, groups of friends traveling together, then built up to a bigger and bigger things. That's especially how the first Distant Worlds expedition started. Commander Eramus and a couple of friends were sort of traveling across the galaxy, and they just built up more and more people along the way, and it became kind of bigger and bigger and more organized, because I suppose it needed to be, really. I had over 1,000 commanders in it. I think it was something like 3,000 commanders. Someone will probably correct me because I don't have the stats in front of me, but it's pretty epic. I mean, it's still the second biggest expedition in Elite history to date. I don't think that's going to be beaten anytime soon, other than its successor, the even more epic Distant Worlds 2, which had 13,000 commanders in it. I know that one because I was on that one. First Distant Worlds, no. I was in game at the time and exploring, but I didn't really sign up in time for Distant Worlds 1, unfortunately. How's the audio coming across, everyone? Because at the moment, I don't have much of a feedback mechanism because the internet connection isn't too great. Well, that's true about it. And the chat Rebulizer, as they pronounce it? Yeah. 2024, we have another moon landing. Yeah, that's the idea. I hope so, anyway. I mean, Project Artemis is designed, obviously, to be the next mission to the moon, and 2025 is looking more likely. I think it will happen, because so many treaties and agreements have been signed and so many contracts have been signed. I think it's just a matter of when rather than if. I know there isn't the urgency of the Apollo era when you had like two superpowers racing against each other to be the first one to do all kinds of things in space. To land on the moon was obviously like the greatest of goals. And now the Soviets were trying to do this as well as the Americans. They just didn't do it so publicly. I mean, whatever rights and wrongs of the political situations of the world of that time, America did all these things very publicly. I mean, if something failed, if there was an American space disaster, you knew about it because it was done in public. In the Soviet Union, there were several failures that were never really public, not for years afterwards anyway. Like the famous N1 disaster, where their equivalent, the Saturn V, the N1 rocket, which would have taken them to the moon if it had worked properly, and it blew up on the launch pad, and yeah, it was one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. And we're talking something that makes like the mother of all bombs look like, a small catapult by a child, I suppose. It like, they're talking about like, was it 7 kilotons of TNT that it was the equivalent of? If it all exploded, I don't think all the energy was released in that explosion. Still, that's another story for another day. How's everyone doing in chat? How's everyone doing out there? I hope you're having a great day. Hope we can provide some entertainment for this evening, or morning, or wherever time it may be, wherever you are in the world. One of the great beauties about the elite community is the fact that it is truly global. People on every continent, apart from Antarctica, but you never know with research stations down there. They have internet these days, so you never know. Yeah. Oh, it's all good, it's all good. Yeah, I'll begin my talk fairly shortly. Just bear with me for a moment and I will start rolling. Not jumping, but just with my talk. Right, bear with me just one moment. Okay, right, we should have another starting soon image, and I should still be coming across with the audio, but then we can go into it in a moment. Oh, hey there, Derek Johns, how's it going? Good to see you. Good to see some very familiar names. Some people I obviously don't know, but I will get to know, no doubt. So welcome to you all. Right, okay. I'll start the address in just 1 second. This is the thing about being an expedition organizer. So many people try to send messages to you for all kinds of things. Someone's just posted something quite interesting in the chat. I think it's a poem about space exploration. Yeah, that's cool, by Colonel Alfred Warden. Those of you who are in the Discord, the Crew Lounge, there's Chanks Atomi has posted a very nice poem, done by Colonel Warden, who was the command module pilot of Apollo 15. But anyhow, as they say, on with the show. Okay, the road to Apollo 15 is obviously quite a long and complex one, but I'm going to try and sort of summarize the sort of Apollo stuff, or the building blocks, in like quite a short burst. But I'll start it off at the beginning with President JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the political architect, you would say, of the whole Apollo program. But here we go.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked. therefore ask the Congress, above and beyond the increases I have earlier requested for space activities, to provide the funds which are needed to meet the following national goals. First, I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
Okay, yeah, JFK, very much one of the icons of 20th century politics. And definitely the sort of, I was obviously well known for being the main sort of impetus behind Apollo within America, or at least the sort of start of the Apollo program. But the reality was, it was even better than that, really. He was obviously the charismatic figure that did those amazing speeches and sold the idea of going to the moon to the American public, the world public as well, because it captured the imagination of the world, of course, and also to the US Congress, where the bills would be paid from, and they needed some convincing. But I think this helped, definitely. The good thing was, his vice president, Johnson, was actually in charge of his Space Council. Now, this will become very useful over time, but Johnson was a man of great persuasion and a huge fan of space, more so even than Kennedy was. Kennedy was a fan of space. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. But ultimately, it was Johnson who actually did most of the actual legwork behind the scenes to try and get NASA's sort of running with eventually what would lead through Mercury and Gemini into the Apollo program and beyond. This picture here in the main slide, you've got obviously Kennedy's at the center, and sort of second from the left, you've got Johnson. And obviously at this point, Johnson running a Space Council before Kennedy's death is kind of one of the key things about this, not just getting everything going in a sort of day-to-day sense. But when he became president in his own right, you had a president who was a massive space fan and was going to absolutely, completely see the Apollo program through as far as he could. Obviously, he wasn't re-elected. He didn't actually stand for election again due to other controversies, which we're not going to go into here. But as far as space is concerned, him and JFK were an amazing duo who propelled the Apollo program, through a somewhat resistant Congress at times. Obviously, there were people in Congress who were very much behind it, but there are a lot of people who weren't as well. And that will turn up in the story again a little bit later on. Still, on the subject of JFK and Johnson, there's some more images here. Obviously him, this is at the Cape, Cape Kennedy, Cape Canaveral, depending on the era. Him with some of the astronauts on the right. You've got Gordon Cooper, Gus Grissom, two of the Mercury 7. With in the background, you can see the an early version of the Gemini capsule, I think, that they're working on. This one, I think it might be like 1962, maybe early 63. But I think there was definitely a time that Kennedy visited the Cape, not too long before his assassination. I think this might actually be the one from this. But there's a few more images, I think, that are kind of, pertinent for this. Here is, again, sort of Kennedy with an early version of the lunar module. We wouldn't really recognize it from what happened later on. It looks weird and sort of like an early sci-fi thing, like maybe 1950s sci-fi. But yeah, it was that was literally an early mock-up of what they were working on for the lunar module. Forward to this waypoint, this launch waypoint is named Saturn for the reasons of the Saturn rockets that took, our valiant astronauts to the moon. What you see in the background is Kennedy in the center there with the chief designer of the Saturn rockets, Wernher von Braun. Again, a somewhat controversial figure in his own right. But definitely a brilliant engineer and a very good sort of technical organizer is the word I would use. But what you see in the background is the first Saturn rocket, the Saturn 1. It's like a prover for technology, really. But on the road to the moon, it wasn't just the Saturn rockets that were there. You had the first move into space with men, you had the Mercury program. This picture is the Mercury 7. A amazing group of men. Truly sort of legends, not just in America but around the world, as in probably the most like tested group of people, at least the tested pilots in history. Virtually every medical test known to man was performed upon them, and all exceptional people. A lot of them were considered to be mega geniuses as well, which is quite amazing. But yeah, these very brave people flew those early Mercury missions. This is a good example. This is Mercury Atlas, one of the first orbital Mercuries. But Mercury was only the first step along this road. Then you had Gemini. This is the second group of astronauts who were to star a lot in the Apollo landings later on. And then you've got a little picture of the Gemini capsule in the middle. Don't worry, this lecture won't go on for too long. It's not really a lecture, it's just like a sort of friendly chat more than anything else. At least I hope so. But continuing. Yeah, there's Gemini. I think there's an early Gemini test, probably 3 or 2. But either way, it's a very cool picture, I thought. So I thought I'd put some nice ones for Gemini. And that's the meeting of the 2 Geminis in space. This picture I really love, because it's doing on those early sort of docking experiments with the Agena. But just look at the background, and that's just amazing. But yeah, they can, through the Gemini program, they actually developed a lot of these technologies and techniques that they would use for Apollo, because they didn't really know how to do all these things. You know, to dock a spacecraft, to catch another one up in changing orbits, to change the shape of your orbit. You know, just all these things to spacewalk even. This was not understood at the time. Talking about spacewalk, there's a picture of a well-known man in the Apollo program. This is Mr. Buzz Aldrin. And this is the last Gemini mission. And he, quite late in the day, got this particular flight, excelled in it, did, to that point, the longest US spacewalk, and therefore, by doing so well, earned himself a position on the backup crew of Apollo 8, and then, famously, on Apollo 11. Back to the little bit of Saturn, though. This is the first manned Saturn. This is the 1B, which Apollo 7 went up on. Now, this is kind of key to our story in many ways. And again, something like 15 itself does get quite overlooked in the grand sweeps of history. Mostly because this was the first Apollo manned mission. And it came after the Apollo 1 disaster, where unfortunately 3 astronauts burnt to death in an early Apollo capsule. But the pressure was really on to NASA at this point. And basically, if the Apollo 7 mission had failed, Apollo was over. There was no way that Congress was going to keep bankrolling it. NASA itself may well have actually fallen as well. So the pressure on these guys was beyond extreme. I think in the history of NASA, only 2 missions had to go 100% right, or NASA itself was in deep doo-doo, if not the whole program cancelled. The first one was Alan Shepard, when long after Yuri Gagarin, for obvious reasons. Apollo 7 is the other one. But they didn't just do well, they excelled. They smashed it out of the park so much that they didn't actually need some successive missions that they had originally planned to do after Apollo 7. And here's a picture of the crew of Apollo 7. There were some controversies with this as well, and they never flew in space again, any of them. But again, that's a story for another day. Quick picture of something from Apollo 7, the upper stage. Again, like testing various techniques for later Apollo missions. And now we get to the big guys. This, the Saturn V, the world famous booster. To this day is still the biggest launcher to ever propel humans into space, and the only one that's ever taken people to the moon. But on the back of the exceptional flight of Apollo 7, it allowed them to leap to the moon, to orbit the moon, earlier than anyone had anticipated, including the Soviets. It's one of the reasons they did this. So instead of the first thing, you think, well, we've got a new rocket here. You've got this really powerful Saturn rocket. First time out, let's send it around the Earth maybe. That was the original plan. High orbit test. You know, really, really far out orbit from the Earth, but still Earth orbital. And what happens is that they think, well, we could actually just go to the moon with this. Now, this may actually be NASA's bravest decision ever, Because if you think about it, you've got an untested rocket with people. Okay, they've done some unmanned tests, but you've never sent people up before. The first time you sent it into space, you send people around the moon. Now, that these days, they would never be allowed to do that. But at the time, it was considered to be a pretty extreme risk. NASA were more confident than anybody else, but, you know, they really did well. They didn't land on the moon on Apollo 8, but they definitely were the first people to ever see another world up close by orbiting it. This is the gallant crew of it, which some of you may be familiar with. On the right-hand side, we have Jim Lovell, the very famous commander of Apollo 13, but in this one, he was just the command module pilot. But still an amazing thing to do. Seen the moon before, he went on Apollo 13. And yeah, this is another sort of great moment of history, but hence the sort of theme for this waypoint. All these waypoints in the expedition have a theme. You probably notice there's different names, like Waypoint 1 Saturn, and there's different like crew members' names and other things that are connected with Apollo 15. So there always like a theme that I'm running with this, and hence like Saturn for today and the launch, because, you know, what better to launch with than the rocket itself. And this final image is, I think there was a poll in the very early noughties for what is considered to be the best photographic image of the 20th century. And this was picked. This is Earthrise. This was taken by the lunar module pilot on this particular flight. And it is the first time the Earth was actually viewed by people from another place, you know, another world. And you imagine seeing in that situation, you're in this spacecraft that's just brand new, you're the first test of it. And you see that, you see your own, everything you've ever known. You can put your hand up and it will obscure it. Think how they must have felt. They're amazing people for amazing times. But back to the present. Hopefully. Okay, is that better? Okay, cool. No, I don't know if you got the bit about the HBO's Earth to the Moon. That's a great series, and as people have been pointing out in the chat. Yeah, we should be ready to get going in the near future. I just have to check a few things with different flotillas to make sure we're all ready to get going. But yeah, there's so many things to do with this whole sort of era of Apollo and just the period leading up to it. They did so much work. I mean, if you think about it, from the beginning, the first American in space was 1961. And the year we're talking about for Apollo 15 is 1971. In 10 years, they went from knowing nothing about how to handle a space flight to literally flying between mountains across a lunar mountain range to land on a plane on the moon. That's a hell of a step in 10 years. It's insane if you think about it. Yeah, even considering the money that they had, it's quite amazing that they managed to pull it off. Right, just bear with me a moment while I check in with various wings and flotillas. I think this one looks ready to go, doesn't it? Yep, I think wings are checking in. I'm just quickly checking it up. My own one seems to be okay. We've got 4 flotillas for today. We're trying to pack as many people into each one as we possibly can, so hopefully it'll be fine. Famous last words, I know, but welcome to the slightly risky business of expeditions, potentially. It's all good. Okay, to everyone who's listening in the Discord and chat, signal to me if you're ready to jump in the near future. Because if we can try and do this in a synchronized way, it'll be better. Okay, I will try and jump. Let's say the present time is 48 minutes past. Shall we set the jump for 55 minutes? Actually, let's jump on the hour. No, that's probably a bit too long, isn't it? Let's try and jump at 55 minutes past. That might be the best thing to do. This is always the way in just adapting to these situations. Right, I'll go to Discord as well to have some fun with people. I mean Discord voice, not Discord full stop. You know what I mean. There's always some fun chat to be had. Just rejoining my own wing in chat as well. I should say flotilla. It's a wing of sorts, but Right, here we go. Hello, everyone.
Take my buds out my and give them a charge.
Hi, Yannick.
Hey, warning to everyone, you're live on stream at the moment, so watch what you say if it's a bit, OTT. Yeah, try and keep it PG-13 if possible, but
It can get kind of confusing because I'm watching your stream and now I'm hearing myself.
Oh yeah. It can be a little bit weird. Best thing to do is if you're actually in my flotilla, it's best to turn the sound off of the stream because you're just hearing me anyway. So otherwise you're going to be echoing in your ears and yourself echoing in your ears as well. So
yeah. Is anyone gonna clip the stream for the mass jump later or?
Yeah, someone probably will.
Yeah, probably. I'll just once we reach around 1853, then I'll on my OBS.
Yeah. At the moment, the jump should be at 55 minutes past. I'm trying to get that. All wings to report in. Keep saying wings, it's flotillas, isn't it? I've been reading too much Apollo stuff recently. This is part of the side effect of being a big fan of space history. You can end up confusing yourself to the present day sometimes. But that's a risk all historians take, even if I'm an amateur sort of space historian. It'll be a fun career, yeah.
On PlayStation 4, we all took roles on Apollo 11, and we did the countdown proper.
Yeah. I think with this one, it's particularly being the launch, it seems good to try and get everyone doing it at the same time.
Yep. I mean, we did the Capcom, go. Setcom, go. It was fun.
Yeah.
Everyone took a role. We all scripted it out, and we recorded it and streamed it out. It was fun.
Mac has arrived, so I think
okay, cool.
The instance is ready to go.
Yeah, okay. I think most people are reporting that they're okay for 55. Spool up in my particular flotilla if you haven't already done so.
Okay, I need to figure out what the jump system is now.
It should be in the chat.
17.2 light years.
Is this the Heinz Sector FBX one?
That's the one?
Yes. C1-6.
I drop it in the text.
Okay.
I sort of picked a flotilla kind of at random.
Oh, fair enough. And I'm glad you're here. No, that's just cool.
Turned out to be a good choice.
Yeah, I thought we were getting overloaded a bit earlier. I think there was a point it was slowing down quite badly. It seems to have actually sped up a little bit since then. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes still. Should be fine.
Oh, hello, Mac.
This will be like my first mass jump ever. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyone who's actually listening in from other flotillas, if you can't make it on 55, jump as soon as you can, but as many as you can, try and jump on 55.
So do we accelerate at 55 or do we accelerate at...
I'll do the countdown.
2 seconds
Once it
early
reaches
to
0,
jump? Exactly.
yeah, once I say engage,
Okay.
or get going, whatever word I'm using, it's usually engage, you know, then you sort of hit full throttle. You don't have to boost. It's kind of sometimes dangerous to boost if you're too close to other people. If you've got space, then fair enough, but, you know, it's best to, yeah, use your own judgment. Use your judgment where you can and cannot boost into. Some ships don't even have boost, that's true, so, you know.
Yeah, I mean my Anaconda literally can't boost.
Okay,
Same
then
here.
problem solved then.
If I boost, I shall go very, very quickly. But
Mm-hmm.
my ship is also quite fragile.
Less than a minute to
Probably
go.
become slightly exploded.
Cool, right.
So landing gear up as a reminder.
Yeah. Well, I'd pull it back in now, to be honest. If you've got anything to go out, I'd pull it back in, because we're pretty close now. We're at 30 seconds away, so...
This is so cool, man. Never done this shit before. Oh.
Okay, right. I'll do the countdown for the
This
last
is my
10
next-
seconds.
It's up there with the coolest thing I've experienced in games, man. It's up there, man.
Cool. Right, stand by. Ready, everybody? In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Let's go, my boys!
Let's
I'm
do
so
it.
slow.
And we're away. Hooray. And I think we've all made it as well. Yeah.
That was
Alright,
impressive.
not all of you are gone.
I do love big mass jumps. They're cool.
Oh, no, we are.
That's a, oh, one more person.
Everyone in Super Cruise here.
There
Yeah.
you go. All gone from the instance. I'll save that on my shadow play. Because I was lingering behind. I haven't jumped.
Yeah. Oh, so many people in the instance right now.
I think there's a few streamers who've been covering this as well at the same time, in spread around different flotillas. But you see all the fireflies. Yeah, it's always other commanders.
That's awesome.
It is. I'm just showing flying around just to see the fireflies. Because it was cool to have these many people in the same place at once. Wherever you go in the bubble or near the bubble, you see the all-seeing eye of Barnard's Loop. It follows you everywhere. That's what I'm pointing at right
So
now.
I guess right now we just head towards our.
Now it's on to waypoint 2, which the information should be pinned in the main chat, and also it should be in announcements as well, so it's in a few places. But yeah, as always with explorers, like take whichever route you wish to take. You could go in a straight line, buckyball it if you want. You could, use economic sort of jumps and what have you, and or go completely off plane. Do whichever you want to do. It's this one is a slight sort of angle around the edge of the bubble, but we'll be at that place tomorrow, which is it's spectacular in its own way. But you'll see what I mean when we arrive. But yeah, I'm going to keep streaming for a little bit anyway. But I'm going to keep on
A
flying.
reminder to people. Sorry.
It's okay, absolutely. You say
Reminder also that Endeavour, if you want to pick up a carrier, Endeavour will be leaving at 2100 in-game time, which seems quite a long way off now, but that's what I'll stick to.
Certainly, certainly. Right.
Jumping, I guess.
Get the
Just
jumps going, my friends.
yeah, the straight line is 2,344 light years.
Yes, something like that, right?
I'm going
About
to
62
take.
jump.
I think I'll take a fairly direct route to this one, but I might go a little bit off plane to see what's what. And this is maybe not the most optimum explorer, but then again, it's like I know what I'm doing, so it's going to take a few jumps to get there. So
I'm going to start plotting my jumps and setting my course to sail. All you gentlemen, thank you for a wonderful afternoon.
thank you for turning up.
And thanks
people-
to all those
And-
who helped out with the winging in. It was much appreciated.
Absolutely. This is what's good about the exploration community. Everyone helps each other, and it's a very friendly place. It genuinely is.
Thanks for the
Everyone
update on the
organized.
NVIDIA. My stream went flawless. People were
Awesome.
chiming in.
I'm glad to hear
I
that.
haven't seen and engaged with them because I don't have the comments active because I'm down here. I don't have another computer to monitor it and engage
Sure.
with them. But from all my tales, everything went marvelous on my end. Wonderful day. Have a great day.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
You too.
I'm glad to hear that.
See you, man.
Now I'm
And wonderful
getting.
meeting you all. Make friends with me on Steam and all the places.
Cool.
So we
Nah,
can
I
wing up
prefer
and
the.
be friends.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Prefer the Horizons jump animation compared to Odyssey. It's nicer, more oomph.
Jet.
I think they're both beautiful in their own ways. I mean, yeah, it's some of it's personal preference. I think that's one of those things, definitely. I was looking at the comments now. Yeah, as Zed Drebin said, who doesn't love a mass jump? Absolutely. They're fun to take part in, they're fun to watch. Have you noticed almost always like your highlight reels from expeditions? Mass jump's usually a big part of that, and there's a good reason why. Yeah. Now just scrolling back through the comments because obviously yeah. I don't always get to see them firsthand because I'm doing so many things at once. It's a very strange business juggling all these balls at the same time, but that's just part of what organising these things is like. Thank you to all the staff who have done amazing work today. Thank you to everyone, I say, who has been helping people to wing each other in, giving good advice, good build information. They say this is a great thing. I say the exploration community very much helps itself, and we help each other, and it's genuinely wonderful to see. It always has been, and I think that's what people keep coming back. I mean, people will say this: Elite is a great game. There's no doubt about that, but it's the community that really makes it. I think we might hit
I'm heading
600.
towards the right system.
Davian, you're already away. I see it. Yeah. I wanted to ask if anyone, especially Jack, wanna go together around this trip, or try at least to stay reasonably close.
You're already in the next.
No. In the first one we jumped to, like you two. Like Fragment is here too.
Ah, okay.
What is your jump range like?
50.11 because I have one repair limit on board.
Okay, 50.11. Okay, yeah, it's fine. I've 56. So we do the old, you plot the course and I follow your jump thingy.
But which system we are heading to?
Oh, okay. I can DM it to you. It is on the EDSM. If you search for it.
Ah, you try to get the whole way by yourself without a carrier.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a hold. You want to use the carrier?
I plan to, but yeah. But
Oh, I've got a talk cover.
Okay.
It's fine if you want to use carrier. Use carrier. Feel free. Then I'll
Absolutely.
jump away.
Yeah. People can ride carriers if they like, or do any combination of these things. You can ride a carrier for a bit, get off it, explore again.
yeah, because I'm not sure if I make it in a week.
The only advice I will
I
say to
have-
people is just keep an eye on announcements and also in the main chat, just to see what's going on and check the pins in the main chat as well, because sometimes information is there that's very useful. People don't always see that, so that's always like the best advice I can give.
I currently have a 70 light year jump max, 70.34.
That's very good.
So I can reach there in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna keep jumping. Start jumping.
I was considering bringing a Sidewinder, but
Are you with the one?
I don't have a engineered FSD for
Mhm.
size 1, so I brought the courier instead.
I've just read on the forum that someone wanted to bring a Sidewinder and found the idea pretty funny.
Some people have brought Sidewinders. I've seen them.
Really?
Oh
I have an
yes.
engineered Sidewinder, but it's all engineered apart from the FSD,
Well, that's a bit unfortunate.
so it's not so good.
Yeah.
There was somebody, a SEAL, I think, who has a fleet carrier and a Sidewinder. I thought that was quite an amusing combination to bring along.
Yeah, no, I
He
did
also
see
said
that.
that
yeah.
he never had any other ship than a Sidewinder.
And was trying to do everything, or show that you could
Yeah.
do everything in a Sidewinder.
I think mining in a
How you
Sidewinder is
weren't
quite
enough
hard.
to
Yeah.
buy a fleet carrier in a Sidewinder.
I can't imagine that though.
I think you could do a lot of things in a Sidewinder. But mining, I find that almost impossible. Unless you could scoop, the bits up from your mining, but it's just like it would take so long.
You know what's the
Yeah,
best
I mean, he was
with a
planning to
Sidewinder?
mine tritium, I think.
Wow, that would have taken him so
for
long
the
to
fleet
refuel a carrier.
That's like a lifetime, isn't
I was going to say, it's like trying to mine like with a chisel in the real world. It's like if it's like 100 of you doing that, you might get somewhere. It's one of you, you're not going to get anywhere at all.
I think the best thing to do with a Sidewinder is going in valleys and in some planets, flying around valleys and stuff, like canyons and all that.
Yeah.
That's
We have
awesome with
faster
a
ships than a
Sidewinder.
Sidewinder though, so.
Cool. Now I'm getting some very good feedback from people all over the place. It seems to have gone quite well, so I'm very pleased about this. Everyone seems to have got away okay. I think the other flotillas seem to have got away good. Yeah, people seem to like the chat. Talk, whatever you want to call it. I hate to call it lecture because it sounds so formal. It's like I'm lecturing you about this. It's like
Presentation.
yeah,
maybe.
a nice sort of presentation. It was like a historical chat, really. Yeah, I'd like to think about it, but yeah, it's yeah, I quite like doing those as well. This is the first time I've really sort of used sort of visual aids for it as well, 'cause especially like Kennedy as well. It's like, who can describe Kennedy better than the man himself? So I thought, well, I can't do any better. I might as well just show footage of him talking, and doing his thing. Yeah.
Fragment, do you want to follow me? Hello?
I think a few people have dropped out of the voice chat at the moment. Still got a few
Fragment is
people there.
Fragment is muted. Show lead the way. He is typing. I guess he doesn't have.
Hmm.
What jump? Quick type. What jump range do you have? 62. Damn, you can jump farther than me. Okay. So I can just
Struve's lost sector.
Yeah, it's quite a small
So I
one
can-
there. Yeah.
just jump away and you follow me.
Isn't there some kind of formation? It's like a nebula called, was it Struve's Lost Nebula or something like that? I think something along those lines. But it is a real thing, yeah. Like a lot of the near bubble stuff, a lot of the sectors are actually named after, real world astronomical features.
Yeah.
Which is cool. See, I'm thinking of things of these big ships. They are pretty running hot most of the time,
So will we be doing any Odyssey stuff?
If you want to join the Odyssey flotilla, you can. I mean, there's potentially 2 Odyssey flotillas, actually, depending on how many of the staff actually are there on any one day, because, not everyone's there every day apart from me and a few other people. So it's like, but yeah, there's at least 2 sort of flotilla leaders who will be doing only Odyssey. So if you want to join an Odyssey flotilla, you absolutely can do that. It's the launch was going to be all Horizons, and I don't know about the actual final meet. We might do that in all Horizons as well, but then again, a lot of people want to do that on foot for the Apollo reason. So, but yeah, if you want to do Odyssey 100%, you can do that. This is like the farewell to Horizons expedition, but we are definitely doing Odyssey stuff as well, because a lot of people enjoy it. And I must admit, one of the things that Odyssey I do like, even though I'm a bit skeptical overall about it, is the on-foot mechanics are actually quite fun, and those are quite interesting. So I do like that aspect of it. That is true. So that's quite cool. So yeah, absolutely go for Odyssey if you want to do that. The first Odyssey meet should be this coming Waypoint tomorrow. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that works out, because we've not actually had, as far as I'm aware, actually, this might be the first like significant Odyssey meetups anywhere outside of like people like smaller groups like doing BGS stuff together, like for an expedition. These are like the first significant Odyssey meets that I'm aware of, but I may be wrong.
There was the Artemis exploration stuff.
Yeah.
Biological survey.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that had more people than you're gonna have in those.
I did know that. I was thinking that, is that considered an expedition, or is that just like a regional service? I'm not really sure. That's why, because I've not looked into it. I saw it advertised, but
I wasn't part of it, but I know some people were doing it, and they also had like waypoints, and they were going through that.
Okay.
But it's not the expedition of this kind of having speeches and events and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's somewhat different, but yes, it's an expedition.
Yeah.
More an expedition than this, I don't know.
I know what you mean. It's more like science oriented. I got that impression from what little I read about
yes,
it.
And they made their own application that was tracking what they found, and now the information that we have, like how far things are spawning and what kind of stars they need to have. That's where we know that from now. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that sounds alright. But yeah, I think for tomorrow, I will have to confirm who will be doing that one, but we will have an Odyssey flotilla for that, and all the other ones are going to be Horizons. I think most people have just Horizons. I think only about a third of Elite Commanders at most actually own Odyssey. So it was always going to be a smaller number anyway. I think some people are going to jump between the two. I've heard quite a few people saying that they're going to try Odyssey 1, meet up, Horizons the next, and to see how it goes, really. But it's going to be interesting, because obviously I won't be in the Odyssey ones, but I will like watch videos from them and things, because obviously I'm interested to see how it goes, My ship's getting a bit hot still. I shouldn't fly so close.
No danger, no fun.
That is true, yeah, that's absolutely the truth.
You can always deploy a heatsink.
Yeah, no, I have got a heatsink, somewhere. I've forgotten which button I put it on.
Damn, I need to find my heatsink. Damn, which button was it on? Oh.
To be fair, I've hardly ever needed to use heatsink. That's one of the reasons I keep forgetting what the button is, because I don't bind it to the original one. I changed it from the standard sort of like default setups. So yeah, it's I think actually that's not true. I've only ever used it if I was like doing, combat of some kind, usually sort of like intense PvE when I've got already like a heavy heat build or something, and that generates a lot of heat and I want to get rid of it really quickly. I'll use a heatsink, but exploring, never had to use one. I think these days it's actually easier not to use a heatsink, because I think the very early part of the game where it tended to like place you between two stars more frequently than it does now, when you jumped in, those days people tended to find these situations where they needed heat sinks more than they do now. So it's less demand for them in exploration, I think. Some people take as part of their build. I personally don't usually do that, but today's build's a little bit different. Just thought for a change,
Yeah, I just have one just in case I overheat and get smashed between 2 or 3 suns.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see that.
I'm disagreeing with this, that you don't need a heatsink, because the DBX is a small fuel scoop, and it kind of can't really fill it up that quickly. But if you start charging your FSD while you are scooping like really close,
Yeah.
then you will need to pop a heatsink, and by the time the FSD is ready for actually jumping, your fuel is 100% up, but you need the heatsink to survive that.
Okay.
So
But that's being a bit silly though, isn't it? You shouldn't really engage your like FSD when you're literally scooping at the same time, you know. Unless you want to destroy it.
I actually went in my DBX alone to Beagle Point and back, and that's what I was doing all the way.
Fair
so-
enough. Mac's right
so-
though about the Dolphin. That the Dolphin is actually really good. Like that is the coolest one around, more than the DBX even.
You can actually charge your FSD from the exclusion zone and actually dip through it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is, isn't
and
it?
you won't get more than about 63%.
It's true. It's
I've
not
never tried
obvious. Yeah, I did try it at Mac's recommendation, so it is true. It's surprisingly cool shit.
This is a very, very nice system.
Now, we all know the Type 7 is the best explorer ship.
Type 9, all the way.
I think some people have
no, I
Type
know what
9s,
is better.
but,
I know what I can do you one better. Imperial Eagle. Now that's an explorer ship.
Isn't it the Asp Scout?
It's not a popular ship, the Air
Does
Scout.
anyone ever uses that or anything?
I know some people have got Air Scouts. I think I bought one once out of curiosity to see what it was like. It's not as bad as some people make out, but it's not the best ship either. It's okay, you know.
Apparently it's quite manoeuvrable. It's a good hooning ship, apparently.
Oh, that's interesting. I've not heard that one before. Sounds about right, though. I suppose the rebuy's not very high as well, is it? So, for going hooning, you know, you like to have quite a high rebuy, I would have thought. Not in terms of cost, but in terms of you have a lot of, you know, collisions with the terrain. Controlled flight into terrain, eh? Or powered flight into terrain, sorry, I think it's the term, isn't it? Yeah.
Flashing.
Yeah. Ah, good old aviation. Yeah, the wonderful hooning spots of Pomesh 2C. So looking at some of the pictures that people have put out there for the different flotillas and mass jumps. Yeah. It looks
Yeah, one
good.
question about the pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know how you can post a picture without posting like just a PNG? You know, when you drag drop an image,
It's-
just points to the PNG without a preview.
It's easier if you try and use JPEGs because they have a smaller, small amount of memory basically. Because I think a lot of the time Discord won't allow you to put like files beyond a certain size, and a lot of PNGs tend to be above that limit, and the JPEGs tend to be below that most of the time. That's my best advice for you anyway for posting things.
Okay, I will try.
Cool. Yeah. Just see if I can find some cool images as well for people to see.
Loop of shame.
I mean, I have the one where the two anacondas of ours were mating, so.
That always happens. In every expedition, you always get that. You were somebody with these big ships doing that. It's interesting. Another flotilla got the ships all in a neat line, which is pretty cool. Okay, it's not 100% neat, but it looks pretty decent. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. To those people still watching the stream, I'm going to keep going for a little bit longer, but feel free to message me if you wish to chat.
Yannick, will you fly actually, or will you use a carrier?
I think I might as well just keep flying, actually. I mean, at the moment, I'd have to turn back, and I'm, you know, part of the way there now, so it doesn't seem much of a point. It's not that far, you know. Actually, it's about 81 jumps for me, but I'll just have to keep going, I think. I mean, the carriers, I think, are departing... What's the first carrier departing? A little bit later, I think, isn't it? It's not for a little while, yeah. I think JBL's carrier will depart after the North American meet, which is later tonight, earlier tomorrow morning. So yeah, I just remember from like just memory when these carriers are, because there's 2 official carriers. There's JBL's one and there's Kit's as well. There's all sorts of other sort of carriers that people have brought along, and those are cool as well. I mean, if you want to fly in any of them, that's absolutely fine too.
I'm leaving T-Tower at 2100 in game.
Oh, there you go. Kit's leaving at 2100. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I've gone too far out to really sort of carrier riding. I bought my other ships on the carrier, ones I want for the meetups. Like I've bought myself my Imperial Eagle down, which is got a huge boost on it. That's for just for fun at meets and nothing else really.
But I am flying to the next waypoint myself.
Cool.
Because I'm not sure if I've been there, and I want to choose a body to bring the carrier into, so I can do it in one jump.
It's very cool. No, absolutely.
Jump to the star and then. This isn't really about carriers, is it? I'll tell you what's good in Horizons.
Yeah.
It's seeing your friends in the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to identify just something you can't do in Odyssey.
Yeah, that is a shame, isn't it? As you said, there's lots of things that aren't quite right. The Odyssey. I'm surprised that they actually tried to change the UI because there's no need to. It kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it's like, but it was fine. It didn't need changing. I maybe understand like change little things like that, like the colours here or there, but the basic, function of it seemed to be fine. So it is kind of surprising that they bothered. Because it's a lot of work for what? I mean, I don't think the Odyssey version is really any better. I think some people prefer it, but I don't see any extra functionality that I couldn't have got otherwise.
I think there's just a bit more space on the screen, isn't there, when you first see it? Because of things like icons. But as soon as you click on an icon, the
Interesting.
obscured again.
Panda Foz in the chats saying that they think it's because it ran on Flash and isn't supported. That's interesting. The first time I've heard that one. I have no idea whether it's true or not, but I can't really confirm or deny that one. But yeah, it's the first time I've heard that. It's possible, I suppose. But this is part of the thing about I hate to say anything so negative at the moment, but part of the lack of communication from FDev recently, stuff like this isn't really talked about very much, and it would be nice if they did. This is the details, because a lot of the things they put out are just very sort of broad statements. They don't really talk about the details very much, which is a shame, I think cancelling that dev stream was a mistake. I think people, whether they're sort of fans of Horizons or Odyssey or both, or they tend to people want to know, or they want to be able to interact with the devs, because why advertise a dev stream and then not go through with it? It seems a bit of a waste of everyone's time, It's a bit sad, really. But yeah, it's these sort of interactions are very necessary, I think, especially these days. Yeah, slow progress across the galaxy.
I'm actually following you now, but I don't know whether I reach you.
Oh, so you are following me?
Yes, I try to.
Try to keep up.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to get my first footfall ever.
Cool.
I think.
Congrats.
I'm surprised you haven't got one already, Mac, actually, because I get the impression you play Odyssey more than I do.
I haven't actually been out of the bubble in Odyssey.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm the other way around. I've almost hardly any time spent inside the bubble in Odyssey. I've just been out and about, scouting for this expedition in Odyssey and what have you. So, because that was obviously going to be the big thing for me, is well, what is it going to be like? What's it like to scout an expedition in Odyssey? And, yeah, and see what's what.
I'll tell you one thing, it's easier to find bacteria under your fingernails than it is to find them on a planet.
That's probably true, actually, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I say whether you're sort of a fan of Odyssey or not, it is a lot of people would agree that it does feel like almost a different game. It doesn't really feel like a DLC, which is obviously an upgrade, a change, a modification of an existing game. This does feel like almost like a new Elite game, which is it's a different thing, really, isn't it? It feels very different.
Take a look at my video, see how it looks.
Yeah. I was quite pleased to see there were some quite well-known streamers, at least well-known to me anyway, who've joined the expedition. Especially sort of the likes of Brother Sabithius as well, who actually me and him do go quite a long way back, and I think he was on some of my earlier expeditions all the way back to, I think, Minerva Centaurus. Was it even before then, actually? Like way, way back, we're talking about, like 4 years ago or something. Like quite early on in the game's history, anyway. So yeah, we used to explore together back in the day. And he's a cool guy. I very much recommend watching his streams as well. He does a lot of... he doesn't just do Elite stuff, he does other bits and pieces as well. But yeah, I would very much recommend his channel.
Oh no, I messed up the recording. I forgot to disable my chat. Oh,
No, that's a shame.
God.
It's so easy to do though, isn't it?
Again, if you like.
No, it is unfortunate. It is very easy to make these little mistakes, and yeah, I understand.
I feel so disappointed in myself. Oh my god.
I mean, the good thing about being on a bigger expedition like this is even if your own recording fails, at least you've got other people there to record it as well, so you don't miss out on it completely. Because there's always the next meetup and the meetup of that. Because we've got a whole bunch of them to go. So yeah, don't be too hard on yourself.
So that is a very disappointing one.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Some of my best recorded moments, I actually had the microphone switched off.
Yeah, the chat Muthan's also saying that Elite feels like a new separate game on top of the old one. It is a bit, isn't it?
People did so want Space Legs.
Yeah. This is the thing, isn't it? It's like a lot of people wanted Space Legs, myself included, but not at any price though. I'm not sure I particularly want to pay the sort of terrain price, as it were, as in the new terrain system for Odyssey is. A lot of explorers obviously think this as well, but in the community, but it's not that great. It feels like a downgrade in many ways. I know there's some nice shiny bits that are quite cool to look at, like in a sort of general way, but it's the repetition of terrain is quite obvious. Like the same tiles appearing again and again.
I think is pretty good until you land on the planet.
Yeah, it's all right. I think the actual ship.
It's about the darkness of the.
Yeah, I don't mind the darkness of space so much in Odyssey. That's not really a complaint from my perspective at all.
They already fixed the darkness though.
Yeah. It's still a bit darker than this though, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's better than on the release at least.
They made it darker.
Yeah.
I think they could have, because I think space was a bit too light in Horizons.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But I mean, what do you expect? It's full of stars.
Yeah.
Lots of black
It's not
and lots
that
of
it's
stars.
completely dark, so.
Yeah, I think the truth is it's probably somewhere in the middle. What Odyssey started with in Horizons is like the brightness should be somewhere in the middle of those two. But yeah, I mean the ship model does seem to be basically the same, so that's good. That seems to be kept, which is a win.
I can understand why they've changed the planet generation system to the way they have, because the way they've done it now, in Horizons it would be impossible to make a hand-coded planet as such, landable planet. So you couldn't do the moon because it was it basically everything was just procedurally generated. But now you can actually have hand-coded height maps. I think what they should have done is done that anyway, so you could have the hand-coded planets. But for other planets, generate it like Horizons, maybe with the you kind of maybe pre-bake height
Yeah.
maps, but pre-bake
Maybe.
procedurally generated height maps instead of handmade ones. So you can have millions of
Yeah.
them, and then you wouldn't get the repetition.
You know what? I'd actually assumed, I think something along the lines of what you're saying, not maybe exactly the same, but vaguely similar, is in like, I was assuming before Odyssey came out, they were going to use a combination of mostly procedurally generated, as in Horizons, and as you say, certain worlds that are being like custom made, basically. Designed from like a series of tiles or made totally from scratch, actually, by a designer. But I didn't foresee that they would actually just, all these planets would be just from a very limited number of tiles as well. And
Yeah,
it's a bit weird. I find it very strange. It's like the contrast. I think some of it comes down to the different tolerances with different people. But I think for a lot of explorers, the tolerance for the terrain in Odyssey being all these different tiles and repetitive terrain, it's not a very high tolerance because we're very used to the sort of randomness of the terrain in Horizons. But if you're someone who plays in the bubble exclusively most of the time and you're not that bothered by it, then it's absolutely fine. And I think that's like one of the key differences for a lot of people.
I think the other thing is Dr. Ross might have underestimated how good the human mind is at recognizing patterns.
That's possible. It is very good, isn't it? There is a lot of truth in that, I think. I mean, it depends on the planet, as you know. Some of them, it's not really obvious until you look very closely. Some of them, it's just really blatant, though. So, yeah.
I'm also surprised that mountain climbing there isn't a mountain climbing club yet in Odyssey. Because it is quite good fun. I'm doing now. I found this very narrow ridge line, and I'm sort of running along it.
Yeah.
And trying not to fall off.
Funny enough, in the Odyssey instance test before
And
this...
I've just fallen off. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Before this expedition started, we did an Odyssey instance test to see what would happen.
Oh dear. I'm falling all the way to the bottom.
But when we did this on-foot test, we just went up a mountain to see how far we could get up, and these mountains aren't as climbable as is claimed, because obviously part of the claim was like with Odyssey is, we changed the part of the train so you can walk everywhere. You can't walk everywhere. Lots of places are actually impossible. Maybe if you put a ship at the top of the mountain and then went down, yeah, you could technically walk on them, but if you try to climb up from the bottom, a lot of these surfaces aren't climbable. You know.
But with judicious use of the jetpack, though, you can,
maybe
you can actually get up some. You can get to places where the SRV can't get anyway.
I've not done that much SRV running since Odyssey, so I have done some, but mostly it's been on foot, to be fair. So I don't, in terms of comparison, because the SRV model's definitely changed, though, hasn't it? That's quite interesting.
This surface is very slippery.
I'm not sure I like or dislike the new SRV sort of movement model, the grip and sort of, if you want to call it that. Vehicle dynamics is the word I'm looking for. I don't know if I like or dislike the new vehicle dynamics of the SRV, but it is a fairly significant change.
Slid all the way back to the bottom again.
Where are you at the moment?
Oh, that hurt. I've only gone a few jumps out. I'm on this planet with a very weird red atmosphere.
Okay.
But I thought, well, I'll do a footfall set because I kind of prepared the ship like today, so I'm just kind of. Oh, there's a cloud of dust. I just thought I'd do a landing.
Yeah.
And muck around a bit before actually jumping towards the waypoint.
Better keep jumping, actually. Yeah, it's so easy to get distracted by so many things. I mean, as often with these expeditions, the chat here is really good. The voice chat's really good. You talk about a very cool thing.
And 5 hours later, you're just sitting on the planet. Damn, I needed to go away. That's basically Elite.
Yeah, it happens so much.
Basically, had to go all the way back to my SRV.
I mean, I actually don't have Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just playing on Horizons for now.
Okay.
But it doesn't sound
I've fallen off
bad
again.
from what you are telling, because I've just
Yeah.
Noticed all the backlash it got from like everyone.
Well, it depends on what kind
I
of
guess
questions
they
you're
were just
asking. Yeah.
expecting too much.
I mean,
It enhances the exploration for sure that you can get out and there's an atmosphere and not just
Yeah.
a barren world everywhere.
I mean,
that kind of helps.
I think a lot of the time it depends, like you say, with everyone what the expectations are. I mean, as sort of like main expedition organizer, I feel like I have to be a bit more unbiased about this kind of thing, or at least sort of, hear it, because obviously some people are genuine big fans of Odyssey. I personally, I'm not really much of a fan of it, to be fair. I'm not sure. I will say this. As it is as a game now, it's not worth £40. If it was like £10 or £15, then maybe it would be worth that. But as I say, it does feel like a new game to me, and I will say this is just my personal view, and people are going to disagree if they want to, but that the terrain problem, which is the main complaint of most explorers, is completely valid, and it kills the game for a lot of people. I mean, people I've known for years, who are doing very similar things to me now, have just walked away completely because they're even more sort of disappointed than I am. I would say I describe myself as being disappointed and a bit skeptical about Odyssey. It's not all bad, but it is more bad than good. So, it puts a big question mark for me, because the biggest problem for myself is Horizons won't exist at some point in the near future, probably the autumn this year, and that is kind of wrong from my sort of perspective, because the Odyssey technology for terrain is not good enough for exploring. Because if you're going to encounter the same things again and again, it's like like for example, this expedition, we're going to meet at different places. Some of them I say like meet at these coordinates. Other places it's like another wing leader, flotilla leader will say meet at this geosite or this biosite in different places, and that's how you work out where to meet. If you're in Odyssey, it's a case of, let's meet like 1 kilometer to the west from like, terrain, like mountain number 4, what have you, because there's an exact mountain formation. And see, that's not really, doesn't have any appeal to me, you see. So
it's
yeah,
kind of dull.
Exactly, that's the thing. So as an explorer, if I'm going to find literally the same stuff again and again, I don't want to do that. That's why I want them to expand the terrain generation. If they really are going to get rid of Horizons tech, they're going to have to replace it with something better than they have in Odyssey. Otherwise, I don't see that much of a future for myself doing exploration, because it kills exploration for me in the game. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do in Elite after this expedition, because it totally depends on what Frontier do and if they try and fix the terrain issue or not. But for a lot of explorers, myself included, the terrain issue is potentially like game killing. But
yeah, understandable.
Regarding the terrain issue, Frontier says that it is legit like a problem. They did not mean it. It's not supposed to be in the game, basically. I think it has to do with the source code, because when you create a planet, in how the game creates planets, it goes through a baking process, and apparently there's something wrong with that baking process, which is linked to the source code, which is linked to the legacy code, which is just a whole bunch of old code that doesn't really link well with Odyssey, to the point where you have repeating planet textures, basically.
I thought they actually made a whole new bunch of code that they eventually like recoded huge sections of the game. That's why Odyssey is very different in the way it feels.
It does, but some of it is still legacy code. So
Yeah, would have to be, wouldn't it? I suppose. But yeah, I mean, as I say, as for my perspective, I'm trying to be sort of impartial in one sense, but I'm quite a diplomatic person by nature and quite a fairly kind of positive person by nature. I'll always try and give people like a fair shout and what have you. I think most people that I've come across, whether they're fans of Odyssey or not, do tend to be at least kind of quite sensible about it, because I've seen all kinds of nonsense online where people have been like, really horrible to each other about this, and it's just unnecessary, and it's really quite sad. But yeah.
Oh, I was doing so well. I nearly made it to the peak of this ridge, and then I fell off. It was a really narrow bit.
15 glimpse away from that waypoint.
Cool.
15.
Yeah.
Now I'm miles away from my SRV. And I'm going to have to trudge all the way back.
There's Jet. Oh, you're a bit behind.
Yeah, just 5 jumps.
Damn, kid, you're far away. Oh. Someone from my friends list is already there. Oh, nice.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
Who's in Odyssey right now in this Discord? Who's in Odyssey?
I'm currently in Odyssey.
Mac Winston, can you end me, bro?
What wing you in? I don't know how to start when I'm on. Hold on. I've got a
Yeah.
weapon out.
It's all like it's called teams now, not wings, isn't it? Yeah.
Let me get back to my SRV.
Mac Winston.
Yeah.
I see you active. I'll add you then.
Yeah, I mean, to the future of Elite, though, it would. I think it would be a mistake, but if Frontier actually went ahead with their plans and got rid of Horizons in the autumn, that would. If I was Frontier, I would keep Horizons on for a very long time until they do have Odyssey really sorted out. But they don't seem to be saying that, and it makes me very concerned. Hence, why this expedition has been called like a final, celebration, a final hurrah for the Horizons era. Because as far as we can tell, this is going to be the end quite soon of this particular form of the game, And yeah, it makes me sad. It really does, because there's so much stuff that obviously explorers have found in the galaxy and will just be completely erased. And yeah, it's complicated. Anything, as always with Elite, it's always complicated. The answer is never simple.
But what happens to those who didn't buy Odyssey?
Basically, Horizons is overwritten with Odyssey technology, all the new terrains. If you've got Horizons,
so you get the new. Okay.
Hence why, since that's why I say the Horizon technology is coming to an end. Because if you log into Horizons the day after they've changed it, you'll just see. You won't be able to land on atmospheric worlds in Odyssey generation, but you'll be able to land on the ones without atmospheres, but using the Odyssey generation technology, and that's where the controversy comes from. Yeah.
Okay. Now I get it.
But yeah, there's another thing I sort of
do some falling myself.
a great thing I was saying about this community is also like there's a lot of very interesting people with good questions as well.
Yeah, I played this game for a few years now, but honestly, I'm still a noob because I played mostly in solo and didn't really participate in anything.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Elite Solo, it's a good game. It's a very good game, actually. But it adds so much extra to it if you start playing with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was actually through Reddit because I was joining the subreddits from the Elite community.
Oh, cool.
And that's how I heard about the expedition and so on.
You know what's amusing is, like, only to me though, I think that Reddit's one of the few platforms I've not actually tried to promote this on because I don't have a Reddit account, you see. So I think someone else may have posted it on my behalf, saying that all this is interesting. So expedition here, because obviously there's a whole bunch of us organised. I suppose I'll be like the lead organizer, but there's a whole bunch of other people, as you see in the Discord, who do great work, including Mac here. And Kit as well, who is also in this chat. I think Delta's around still. I don't know if he is or not, but if he is, hello to him too. He does also excellent work. Yeah, I think the launch went pretty well, actually. It went as well as I could have hoped, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I think it's one of those
I've
moments...
never seen so many people. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. The only thing I was going to say is, like, I think everyone kind of remembers the first time they did a mash jump with other people because it's so much fun.
Yeah. And it's rare. So I mean, even if you play, in open, you don't actually meet that many people. Maybe
Interesting.
On like here crowded stations like Shinrata or something. There you might see a lot of people, but otherwise you just never meet someone or rarely meet someone.
Yeah, you're right. It depends on the
So
system.
it's really fun to have 20 people here in the Discord and just mess around.
Oh, hey Swanky in the chat. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. No, it's going well. Thank you. No, Swanky says he's not a fan of Odyssey either, but he's made his points clear. Yeah, I think that's true. It's but as I say to everybody, always be constructive in your criticism as well. I think most people are, to be fair. There are very few people that I know in the community who are kind of quite, should we say, difficult or absolutist about it. I think most people realise that, I think it's always a difficult situation, especially if like the community manager in a very difficult situation because they don't control company policy. They're just the front people for it, and then the devs obviously behind the scenes, and but a lot of these decisions recently are not made by either, but both of them get a lot of stick from people, and some often unfairly as well. I think, it's just sad to see when people just take it way too personally. As in, like, I would say my own opinion is I'm not a big fan of Odyssey, but I'm not going to be personal because there's no point getting personal about it. It's just silly. It doesn't really get anybody.
I mean, it's
anywhere.
not like you have to buy it or anything. It's optional. So if you don't want to buy it, you just don't buy it.
Yeah, I did buy it though. So here I am. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not. You don't have to.
I know,
So
exactly.
I don't get why people are like completely mad shit about it because
On
just don't bother with it.
On some level, I understand. The thing about the Horizons era ending, a lot of people are quite wound up about only because. Weirdly, I guess, well, not weirdly, it's quite logical to think about the human element of it, because with these big communities being built within Elite, and the people have spent a lot of time and effort and emotion as well. And when a thing starts becoming having an emotional connection to something, it becomes much harder to see it sort of change or go in a different direction, or even a negative direction, depending what obviously your view is. And a lot of people, that's where they find themselves at. They find themselves very wound up. And I understand that emotion, that frustration, but it's I think in some cases people are not. They could be more sort of constructive about it. I'm not saying be positive, but there's definitely better ways to handle it than just be sort of. Yeah. And some people, to be fair to them, have just said like that's this is not for me. I'm walking away, which is more healthy than just stewing in negative emotions all the time about it.
Yeah, of course.
Bad vibes don't fix a game alone.
Absolutely, yeah, that's true. We're having fun while we still can. Anyway, that's the main thing. We're all here, so we might as well have fun. That's the reason that we're here in the first place.
For me, I think a great game or any great way to release a game is if the community is fun and events are going, events are fun, then the game's definitely gonna be fun. Even if the game's very, very stale.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, if you take MMORPGs and you put the community out of it, take the community out of MMORPGs, it's horrible. The game is horrible.
Yeah, often.
But the only reason why MMORPGs work is because of the community. So.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Elite is a bit more playable than a lot of those MMOs by itself in solo mode, but as you say, it's like the communities usually make most games, and the better the community, the more longevity it's going to have. One thing I say is another factor I think most people in the community and what their viewpoint would also agree on is Frontier need to work big time on their communications and community sort of strategy, because they go through these periods of sometimes improving the comms a bit, and then it kind of goes downhill again and becomes almost silent again. And it's not good for them, it's not good for the community, it's not good for their profits in the long run, because the more happy a community is, the more likely they are to make profits, because you can sell more stuff to them, more paint packs. They'll talk about the game to their friends and they'll recommend it, and that's just not happening at the moment because of these issues and stuff. So it's obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes a lot of the time, but there's more people. They need to talk more, basically, or communicate in whatever way they can with people like ourselves, really. Okay, how many jumps do I have left? Probably quite a few still. 59 jumps. Okay.
Oh, double stars. Yeah, boy. Talking about it.
Nice. Right.
That's a nice view. I mean, the game is pretty.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's a word. It's like people often try to describe how beautiful different bits of the game are, we often end up, running into the same, not cliches, but often the same words. It's beautiful, it's pretty, it's spectacular, it's epic, or whatever. But that's what draws people in, isn't it? Because it is a beautiful game, and it is a brilliant simulation. Considering the processing power that each PC tends to have, it's an amazing recreation of the galaxy. It really is.
And I'm personally, I must say, find this game more pretty or more beautiful than most recently released games.
I'd agree with that.
Just because of the scale of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a bit lost of words sometimes.
It's okay.
I showed it to a friend of mine, and I was showing him the map. And I was zoomed into the bubble, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm here." And he was like, oh, "Damn, that's a lot of places, and you can go there." And yeah. And then I started to zoom out, and he basically lost his mind about how big this map is. And most people I tell about this game can't actually believe that you can travel all these systems.
Yeah.
And think it's just a scam or something. Because maps can't be that big because the Witcher 3 map is this big and something like that. And it's not the same.
It's true though. It's the biggest playable area of any game that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I mean, you can even get on. I mean, on Horizon on the SRV and drive around the planets, and you can lower down seemingly without any loading screen. Because I guess the loading screen is the drive when you jump.
It's procedural generation, so
It's the calculating screen technically.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's true. Swanky's making a good point in chat as well, saying about the Gal map and UI aren't that great for Odyssey, but there are some features that he enjoys. Yeah, I think a lot of people sort of feel that way. There aren't many people that I've met who, or in recent times with Odyssey, think it's a complete disaster. There's like literally nothing good about it. I think hardly any of those at all. But yeah, I do know a lot of people who are saying more disappointed and skeptical than anything else. And yeah, I think that's quite a common view amongst explorers these days. I think amongst a lot of the Hooners as well feel the same way because of terrain, for very similar reasons to explorers. And some of the racers as well, but yeah. It's understandable.
Yeah, I personally enjoy Odyssey, but I agree with your points about things like the terrain and that. And I think the reason I enjoy it is kind of the atmosphere or the ambience of standing next to something and realizing just how big it is.
Oh, cool.
One of the first things I did when Odyssey came out was to go into a Thargoid structure inside one and walk around, and that was like, oh my god, so if you get the chance to do that, because it's really kind of atmospheric, if that makes sense.
First footfall confirmed.
Yeah, I've not actually done that for Thargoid structures yet in Odyssey. I mean to, but I've been just out of the bubble for a while in this. But yeah, it's on my list, definitely. But you're right, there is something very good about that first-person perspective on foot. But no, I agree, that part of Odyssey it does work well. For especially seeing ships and other bits of technology quite close up. I mean, the Thargoid sort of bases are their technology, of course. So yeah.
But on that note, I need to head off and do some real world stuff. So thanks once again for organising this. It's been great fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for showing, and hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, likewise. All right.
Have a nice evening.
Everyone.
Bye.
Pleasure.
Bye.
I've just seen on the map that Kid is already there, also nearly.
Yeah, that was
Kid
fast.
has like 3 or 4 jumps left, I would guess.
Yeah. If you've got like a 70 light year ship, then yeah, you're going to do this trip pretty quickly. But yeah.
So when you put the the model, because I'm running everything on ultra, and the terrain work quality on ultra, the highest I can go, it's not that bad looking actually on some planets.
Yeah.
have invisible rocks. With a setup where you can play Ultra, you still hit invisible rocks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, so it's not like
I actually got trapped. Yeah, I actually got trapped inside of a container because of an invisible rock.
Wow.
And
That's a new
had
one.
to log out in Horizons to get out of it.
Okay.
I would just self-destruct, to be honest.
I didn't want to blow my ship up. I figured it'd be easier just to pop back out in an SRV. But
What happens if you switch from Odyssey to Horizons? You just pop back into the SRV, or?
it'll either pop you into an SRV, or most of the time it just pops you back into your ship, and you're landed on the planet.
Oh.
One of the major issues I've had with Odyssey is, like, when you recall a ship, it just refuses to land sometimes.
Yeah,
Nope,
I
I
have
don't
seen
want to.
that. Yeah.
Like, I've sat there and been like, I'm getting shot at, and the whole time I'm like, could you please land?
Yeah. I think sometimes it just hovers over it and you have to get into a little blue sort of cone, and then that you can reboard that way.
And I have noticed, like, say if you got like a advanced docking computer or something like that, like, you can actually set it where your ship will search on the ground for a landing spot.
Oh yeah,
now.
it does that, yeah.
And I did like that feature because sometimes I'd sit there like 5-10 minutes straight looking for a place to land, and I'm like, all right,
Sure.
you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna go out, you know.
Well, even that auto landing doesn't always work.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm not saying
no, I
it's like
agree.
100%.
No, I would agree. It's again one of the better Odyssey features is the auto land, because say if you've got the advanced docking computer, it's an option, but not everyone does, and not everyone's keen on it. But it's an option if you want it, basically. So yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I've used it a fair few times.
So
I turned it off while doing exobiology because it's just flying slowly over the surface. You don't want to see that constantly in your face, so just turn it off.
For me, I have to go. What time is it for me, really? Probably once I reach the waypoint, I'll just log off, because it's like almost 4 a.m. in the morning.
Oh wow.
Yes. Welcome. I live in Asia, so everything's past 8.
Fair enough. I mean, 10 out of 10 for effort for actually turning on to this one. If it's 4 in the morning for you, you know.
Yeah. I mean, at least I got no school tomorrow, but still, it's late.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's some
for
people.
me, like, when I sign up for something, I'm definitely going.
I'm down for it.
Oh, I like
I'm
that.
Definitely going.
That's
no
cool.
strings attached.
Yeah.
Go.
That reminds me very similar, I think, on the Apollo 11 expedition that Chang Satome, who's streaming this one as well, he was actually working in Japan at this point. He's an American, but he was working for like Japan for many, many years, and he was having these sort of very weird hours, like of the morning, that he would turn up. Where was the morning his time anyway, like 2 or 3 or what have you, to turn up for meets all the time, and he was just hardcore about it all. He turned up to several meets sometimes as well, you know, like in different time zones, and it's like, how you got the energy to do this, guy, you know? But you know, I respect that.
Take one for the community.
No, it's cool. It's good. It's all good.
I don't usually play this late either, so.
Well, it's a good reason to, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely a good reason to do. The mass jump was definitely worth it. So.
I think
the mass jump alone did it.
I'll be honest, I've been doing these mass jumps for a long time, maybe to the point that I think I tried to work it out once. I may have actually led more of these than anyone else in the game, almost certainly. But they don't actually get boring. It's one of the few things that never gets boring, because none of them are exactly the same. It's always fun. Now, that they should put, if once they want to sell this game, they should say things like that to people, because, you know, not many games you could say that
show the
about.
trailer of mass jumps. Pom, 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 pom.
Yeah. How many jumps do I have left? Oh, a lot still, 50. Yeah, this range isn't particularly great for this one, but I don't mind. To be fair, I don't think I'll keep with this ship for the whole expedition anyway. I'm probably going to switch over to my Orca or Great Phantom at some point. And this
I've
is
got only 14 left.
I think, yeah, this is quite a short leg, this one, between waypoints 1 and 2. So it doesn't matter that much having a short range ship. I mean, what's quite...
You're traveling in style, you're in a Corvette.
Yeah, that's true. And for Corvette, it's quite a good range, 28 light years. So, yeah. Yeah, no, I was going to say that, having said that, when I had, like, my first Asp Explorer, and, like, the early parts of the game, when I was exploring, like, far-off bits of the galaxy, like, places that I was only, like, the second or third person to visit, and, yeah, that range was only, like, 30 light years. And it's like, how did I do that at that point? With such a small range, but I did, you know. Yeah. It's kind of
Lots of coffee and lots of jumps.
I did the MCE in my cutter, which at the time had a 34 light year jump range.
It's pretty
That
good.
was a lot of jumps.
I was going to say, yeah. That was a long trip as well. So what was it about? Was it?
Yeah.
How many thousand light years was that? 80,000 light years that trip, I think, something
It
like
was
that.
more than that. It was about 110, I think.
You could be right, actually. You could be right, but that was a long trip.
I've
yeah.
actually still got all the waypoints in my galaxy.
Oh, really? Cool. I must admit, I think I used to delete them at the end of every expedition, but then again, I've been on a lot of expeditions, so yeah, it's not really surprising. But it's cool. I'm trying to catch up people in chat as well to see who've been saying.
Thinking by the end of next week, you'll probably release the long road map, the super long road map for
I hope so.
The Odyssey expansion.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, so far the roadmaps they put out haven't been particularly detailed, and it's a bit disappointing, really.
Yep. Yeah, many bug fixes and improvements, my friend.
Yeah, the recent one, you know, that when they had the dev stream that they cancelled and then just put a very, like, about a paragraph with a few bullet points. It's like, that's not really a substitute. I mean, this is what we were saying earlier about communication. Is like, it's not good. I mean, I think especially if you talk something
But
up
at least
for
they
weeks before.
acknowledged they were actively investigating a way of fixing the terrain.
That is true, yeah. That is the upshot from that, but it's still, yeah, you're right. In terms of actual details, that was helpful. That is true. But it doesn't help with their supposedly new commitment to more transparency and more just communication full stop. It's kind of going backwards in a way. And that's not good.
I think I might be the first person to reach, hopefully.
Yeah. I don't think you get a prize for that, but you get the satisfaction of knowing you've beaten everyone else. A kid has got the satisfaction.
Moral win for me.
Well, there you go. There you have it. This is good. I'm probably.
Brothers Bathurst is actually streaming, right?
That's what I'm saying. As I was saying earlier, like he is obviously someone we both know, Mac, and yeah, he's a genuinely good streamer. I think it's one of those things he's developed in the years that he's like since we did expeditions with him, that he's like developed been quite a pretty, I wouldn't say like the highest level of elite streamer in terms of viewership, but he's got a pretty good viewership, you know, and he's very good at what he does, and he's a genuinely nice guy. So yeah. We've had some fun together over the years, definitely. But as I'm about to say, is like I'm gonna kind of try and catch up with some streamers later on to see what they made of it all, and especially him, because obviously, like, well, he knows a lot of us anyway, so that's always a good thing. I like the fact he was also doing like a pre-Apollo 15 stream the other day, so that was quite nice. I do wonder if anyone. Sorry.
Oh, I said I did manage to get a first football.
Oh, cool. I wonder how many people know about this expedition because of streamers. There must be a few people out there who signed up because of that.
This is a lot of gas giants. One.
I flew through a star system with 3 stars and 1 planet between them.
Wow, this has 13 gas giants. It's a binary star too. 13 gas giant and a binary star system.
Haha, that's interesting.
That is, that's a lot of gas giants.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're the only voice chat that's got quite a few people in it still. Well, that's cool. There's a couple of people.
The other ones empty? Oh yeah.
There's like 1 or 2 people in the other ones. There's someone in the Odyssey flotilla at the moment. Oh, fair enough. If you want to do that, it's up to you.
I mean, Voice 2 was huge at one point.
Yeah, I mean.
For some reason, Eagle Gaming is sitting in Voice 10 on their own.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. And maybe they went AFK and didn't go back again, you know. Because his mic is off, so... Yeah, it looks like he was probably having some fun earlier, but then everyone else left and he forgot to switch it off. Probably. Still, it looks like the other flotilla's got way okay. And that's the main thing. I think for this one, it's like most of the time on our meets, we like obviously have fun on the surface of a planet in different flotillas, and then we go to space to meet up again, get back into formation or what have you, and mass jump at the end of a meet. But for these launch events, yeah, it just usually is let's get up and mass jump, and that's the meet. This is always like the shortest one of almost every expedition I've ever been on. But there you go.
Everyone just wants to get going.
It's but from tomorrow for Waypoint 2 onwards, we'll be having meetups at every waypoint apart from Waypoint 7, and the only reason I've not done that is for reasons of scheduling, because it gets a bit difficult otherwise to fit that one in. But it's a bit more of a challenge for some people, especially for the first expedition that they're on, because that's like a longer leg going through. You meet up at Waypoint 6, no meet up at 7, but you hit Waypoint 7 anyway, and then you do a sort of dog leg to the left, or the north, depending on how you look at it, sort of northwest really. But anyway, and then you're at the final waypoint, which we've got 2 meetups at because we didn't have any at Waypoint 7, so that's the reason behind that one. Because the first meetup there is going to be one for the actual day anniversary of the Apollo 15 mission landing on the moon. That's why that's on that day, and then the next day is like the final meetup of the expedition. So it's going to be interesting, because I've never done it this way before either, but it's based on, obviously, this is the anniversary, and we're going to be landing at the same time that they did, hopefully. That's exactly what we did on Apollo 11, actually. That particular idea is in, like, let's land to the second when they landed, and we did. I'm kind of surprised we managed to do that, actually, but that's what happened. And that was fun.
I'm getting one message after another from Elite Dangerous Star Map that I've unlocked some new badge.
Oh, that's awesome. It's always good to have that on an expedition, that you've unlocked some new EDSM badge, yeah.
I think it's been like 4 already.
Oh, cool. Which ones did you get?
Let me just not fly into the star, then I tell you.
Okay. No worries.
I'm just popping offline. I've got 5 fleet carrier chips to do later on. So I'm going to take a break.
Okay.
I've got best friends forever.
Cool.
Kepler's Eye.
Yep.
Honk and Scoop. And Kubo is here.
This sounds like a
best
nice
friend-
little haul, yeah.
Best friend might be from who's it? Fragman, who's following me around.
In the chat, ChewCat1 is asking, has anyone else made it to the next checkpoint? Well, the next waypoint is one that we're all racing to at the moment, or at least in this voice chat anyway. We all seem to be pushing ourselves. I think someone might have made it by now. So,
I was going to say, I'm there.
Oh, well, there you
Yeah,
go.
yes.
There we have it.
I'm not.
And I'm just kind of going there slowly.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I thought people might get there quite quickly because it's not very far between these two waypoints. So yeah, that makes sense.
That new FSD with that 2-second boot pushes it pretty good.
Sounds it, yeah.
What's it called? The level 5. What's it called? Pre-engineered FSD, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the one with the like the dual engineering on it.
Yep. I have that on my Python.
Runs a tiny bit hotter than the old one in my Type 7, but squeezed about 5 more light years into my jump though. So I'm just shy of 60 light years on this one.
It's good range though. More than good range. I think there's a rule of thumb. If you've got more than 50 light years range, you can get pretty much anywhere with that in the galaxy, other than like the most extreme stars, which you can't get to other than unless you've got a fleet carrier or something. But yeah, 50 plus is a good range to have.
Like, this is my main exploring ship that I use most of the time, is my Type 7. And like, if I'm trying to really get out to something far away, I have an Anaconda that has like a 70 plus light year jump range, but it's like stripped down to bare bones almost.
Yeah.
Mine's a Explorer Conda, so there is some min-maxing in there, but the only thing that I really min-maxed are the power plant and the power distributor. Everything else is Explorer based, so I have a SRV.
Okay.
And fighter.
I think that's with Anaconda or a Corvette or a Cutter, any of the bigger ships really, you can just take everything you need with you. You don't have to make any compromises at all.
Yeah.
I would have taken my ass for old time's sake, but I had to fit all the limpets.
The damn limpets.
Yeah.
I've never gone on an expedition in an ASP.
Really? You surprised me.
Yes. I did some minor exploration back in the early days in an ASP before engineering, but I don't think I went more than 500 light years from the bubble.
The solution is simple. Turn around and grab your asp.
But I've never done an expedition in an Imperial Courier either, so...
yeah.
I've done a solo expedition with a Imperial Eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ask me why, but I did it.
It depends how far you're going to go, really, and like how quickly you can move, and what your tolerance level is. Because some people, I think, have like done these extreme builds and like got halfway through and thought, I can't do this anymore, and just switched to a normal ship. But yeah.
Went to what's the place? I went to a place called good old Colonia.
Right.
And my friend decided, hey, you know what? Because I used to do a lot of PvP back then. You know what? Hey, why don't you try to bring your FDL there? Huh? You want me to bring my Furtherlands to Colonia?
Yeah.
Even with the Neutron Highway, that is a long...
Oh, I agree. Absolutely.
I mean, I remember someone brought a Federal, whatever it was, the biggest one, with us to Colonia on DV2, and I have no idea how they managed that.
Yeah.
You know what? Why not? I might as well. So, I was supposed to visit there for some engineering, anyways. I already had a different ship for it to bring my to go to Colonia and then transfer my ship over there. But since I'm already in a Furtherlands, I got plenty of time. It was the holidays. Might as well.
Yeah, I mean, pre-fleet carriers, as you say, like going to Colonia was always expensive for transfers. Like, you'd always fly out in your most expensive ship just because transferring would cost you a fortune. Like, was it to move a cutter with like about 1 billion credits or something like that? You're going to transfer it from the bubble to
What?
Colonia. Yeah. Some people have done that.
$1.5 billion.
Billion. There you go. I've never done that, but I know other people who have.
Holy.
It depends on the fit out of the ship.
Yeah.
But it's about 150% of the
Full price? Or?
Full price. The cost of the ship as it's fit out, and a fully fitted cutter is around $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I have reached
And
the
so it's
waypoint.
about $1.5 billion to transfer it to Colonia.
No, you're right. That it does. Yeah.
I'll just wait at the checkpoint here since I'm already here.
Commander Chukat has already arrived at planet 4B in Waypoint 2 system. So yeah, that's definitely one of the first people to arrive. So that's nice. Cool.
Mark my progress.
Oh, there is is there a little campfire or what's it on the picture?
I do like the little vents like that. They do look like campfires. Yeah, those are nice.
What's up?
You have the thermals, the volcanic vents. They always look like campfires from a distance. Having a nice barbecue in an airless world.
One of the funnest things that I've done in Odyssey is being on foot and jumping into one of the like geysers.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Lava diving.
Oh yeah. Extreme events. I think the water geysers, however you want to pronounce it, those are kind of fun events. You put the SRV into the plume of water and then it pushes you kilometers up into the sky. It's amazing.
Oh, I wonder how that works on foot, whether you can do the same on foot.
Might kill you on foot.
Oh, you can.
Get fired into orbit.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
It fires you pretty far up there.
Wow. Sounds fun, I will say.
It's like when you just start, you get high enough where you can't even notice the details of your ship anymore. It's just like, I may have made a mistake.
Yeah. It does sound amazing though, yeah. Just for fun at that moment, it's like I've been catapulted far into the sky. I don't know how I'm gonna land, where I'm gonna land.
How do I mark my progress so that I to show that I've already visited the waypoint?
Well, if you've got what's it called again, ED Discovery or any similar programs, just upload your logs onto EDSM, and it should register you have been gone to that system. So you have been.
Does Market Connector work too?
I
Yeah,
don't.
You can also manually
Okay,
upload your journal to EDSM.
Okay,
if you're not running ED Discovery.
Yeah.
Or similar.
I mean, sometimes
run
it does take about a
yourself,
day for the files to update to EDSM sometimes, just because of synchronization is a bit sort of overwhelmed at times with so many people uploading from expeditions. But it does tend to, within about a day, you tend to show, like you've right at waypoint 2, let's say right now, and you've just uploaded all your logs, you might see it in like 2 seconds. It might take 24 hours. It's hard to tell, But if you want to hit all the different waypoints, just make sure you keep uploading the logs.
About that, so my profile on EDSM wasn't public before basically 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I may not be counted among those that actually jumped. Will that update in the same way you just described?
You should be counted, because my profile isn't public either, and I show up on it. So I don't think that's part of it, to be fair. At least as far as I'm aware, anyway. Unless someone else can tell me differently, but I remember always showing up on EDSM sort of progress indicator, and yeah, my profile is definitely not public.
Okay, thank you.
The indicator is this little green check mark, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
It should do.
So
yeah.
Market Connector does work.
Cool.
Yeah, it basically does the same. It even has the option to send a log to EDSM.
So how do I log in a log?
How do you upload the log? I've never done it manually. Matt, have you had any experience in doing that to EDSM?
Yeah, a long time ago. Hold on. Where's my thing?
It might be on the EDSM website itself how to do that. It's the kind of thing they probably would talk about. Yeah.
There's like upload.
I might be able to
import
help.
journal. If you click on your picture, it's like the fourth option down on the menu. Import journal, and then just find the appropriate journal file and drag it in.
It's usually located on your local, like your local C drive under users, whatever your username is, save games, Frontier, Elite, and then it should have all your journals.
An alternative would be to use ED Discovery, which will automatically upload all of your previous flight logs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I could do that. Yeah, ED Discovery.
Sometimes you have to manually click on the button though to make it do that, but it is quite easy. You just press one button literally to sync it, so it's quite straightforward. Like, I think I synced some of my logs just before the expedition started, just to make sure it was all up to date.
The installer, Elite Discovery, release 12.100, Odyssey release.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be even in the top 10 of people to get to Waypoint 2, but it's not a race, as we always say. It's expeditions aren't really races. If you happen to arrive somewhere first, then that's cool. But it's a trip of discovery and finding things, really, and having as much fun as you can, really, along the way.
I've discovered something.
Oh, cool.
I've actually
So I have
mapped
to download
two,
the
three
asset.
systems already.
12.10.00 assets over the.
I think a lot of the time when you go off plane, like you got the galactic plane, which like Earth sits more or less on at the sort of center of the sort of galaxy. If you cut it vertically, if you go slightly above or below the galactic plane, you can find a lot of non-discovered systems quite easily. Even not that far away from the bubble, actually.
Because most are just staying in the plane, right?
Exactly, yeah. I think most people are usually staying within about 100 years above or below the galactic plane. So if you go, let's say, like a couple
500?
500 to 1,000, however high you can climb at that point. Because this far out at the edge of the galaxy, you can't climb that high, but you can still, if you clear, like, say, 500 or 600, then you're almost certainly going to find something out there. By Waypoint 2, I'm talking about, you can. I'm trying to remember, because I didn't actually go that high up when I was scouting Waypoint 2, because I was just interested in the Waypoint alone. But yeah, it's good advice anyway, to be fair, to any explorer of any level of experience, is always go off plane, isn't it? Because you can find cool stuff.
But guys, the galaxy is flat.
Oh man, yeah.
And I won't let anyone tell me anyways.
Well, if you look at the galaxy, it's flatter than the Earth is. The Earth is not a perfect sphere, but it's pretty spherical overall,
Well, the galaxy is kind of flat, though.
It is, yeah. Especially at the edges, it's kind of flat. Yeah, in the middle, not so much, but in the edges, like where we are, it definitely is a bit flat.
The Earth is an oblate spheroid.
That is true. So
technically, it's a geoid. An oblate spheroid isn't quite the right shape.
Ah.
Yeah. No, I think you're both right, actually. But yeah, it depends on what level you want to take it to, really, doesn't it? But yeah, it's all cool.
We'll land on this planet, get a first footfall, then I'll log off. For the day.
Just arrived in the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which planet was it on the Waypoint 2?
Ooh, I don't have my thing in front of me at the moment. I think it's from memory. It's 4C. It's the one that's orbiting a water
The one
world.
with
That's
the
orbiting
water
a
world?
gas giant. Yeah, that's the one.
Gas giant with water world. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks very cool. I will say it's definitely a super spectacular place. I mean, you just look up from the orb out in the atmosphere, and you look, and there's just a water world hanging there in the sky. It's just incredibly large. I mean, way larger than the moon looks from Earth, you know. And actually, the gravitational pull from that, you know.
I think in reality it would be ripped apart, but hey.
Probably not ripped apart, but it would be a problem, wouldn't it? It would squeeze the smaller
It would
body,
be
wouldn't
flat.
it? Yeah. It would squeeze the smaller body because, you know, like Jupiter squeezes Io as it moves very close to it. The same thing would happen. So it'd be very volcanic, I think, because of the way the planet gets pulled and squeezed from the bigger body. Yeah. That would be cool, actually. There was an actual egg that was a planet size in space, and just like, how big's the chicken then? You know, there's like insanely large, like thousands of kilometers across chicken that goes around space laying these huge eggs.
I'm pretty sure that's an episode of Doctor Who.
You could be right. Yeah.
There is one where the moon is actually an egg and it hatches.
I remember this episode of Doctor Who, there's definitely space vampires that are like absolutely massive, like hundreds of meters across. That's definitely a thing.
KFC you could get from that chicken.
Space KFC. Super spicy.
Could land on a chicken nugget.
You actually sort of like went to sleep and you woke up, you'd gone to a parallel universe, and all of a sudden like everything was like large food, like large nuggets, large eggs, etc. And it would blow your mind.
I'd be looking straight for a trifle.
You'd never be hungry again, no, that's true.
It'll blow your stomach, not your mind.
Both.
Both.
I don't mind.
Hey, my crew is here. My wing is completely in the target system. On the waypoint 2.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the galactic map since we left waypoint 1, so I'll have a look in a second to see. I think
you catch up.
there's going to be a string of people, because people were saying earlier about when you look at the Horizons map and you've got lots of friends, all these little green dots going across.
Yeah.
When an expedition has just left a waypoint, you always see that. And they start to spread out amongst space and people going in all kinds of different directions. It's always good fun to see.
Well, when you do that and you see a little green dot way at the back, that's my ass.
I'm just checking it out now, but who's where? I've got a few people I'm looking at. Tom's Galaxy, Time Darkhorn,
4C, right? BWIB D15 4C.
Right.
I think it's actually the B one, because the B one is the moon that orbits the waterworld.
Yeah, right, got it.
Yeah.
If I see this correctly. What is it?
Yeah, it is a moon in orbit of a water world that's in itself in orbit around a gas giant.
Yeah.
That's the one, yeah.
And that is...
Do we land on the planet or do we just orbit the planet?
Whichever one you want. I mean, the meetup happens tomorrow, be on the planet, but you can do what you want in the meantime.
Hang on, did you just say the meetup is tomorrow?
I mean, with a lot of
that's
these,
4B.
with a lot of these planetary meetups, we do, announce them quite close to the time because we want to guarantee we've actually got daylight. I mean, because in advance, you can try and predict the movement of a planet and when it's going to be light, but it's not always accurate, and there's no like dead cert way to do it in the game. unless you've got a tidally locked world to the star. But even then, it's not 100% guaranteed you're going to have sunlight at that time. You would have thought being tidally locked to the star that you would, but it's only true about 80% of the time, because let's say if you're like quite near the day-night terminator, and when you landed there, and then it because of the way the orbit may be inclined slightly, or the planet, you know, axial tilt, etc., is a bit different, and then you know what I mean. These things make a difference.
I don't think I'm going to make it. I may have to miss waypoint 2 to meet up.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy it in the meantime anyway, because it's a nice place.
I've got 169 jumps to do.
What?
Whoa.
That's more than I did, and I've got a very crummy range. Are you using economical or something?
18 light year. No.
Okay.
No. I've got an 18 light year jump range.
Okay.
Are you in the Fertile-Lands?
No, I'm in the Sidewinder.
Oh wow.
Oh.
That's see, we were talking earlier about people who
Okay,
had the guts
you're
to
doing
do
it.
Sidewinder, and this is one of the people who are doing this. I've met a few people who, like I said, they've talked about using a Sidewinder, but I think you're the first person who's actually been using it
To
today.
actually do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're my hero. You're my hero.
Do you want it one stage further? It's an unengineered side.
Oh
I was
wow.
going to say you can
True
you can
Iron Man.
get quite a lot of range out Sidewinder if you engineer it. I mean, not amazing range, but decent.
Yeah, you can get.
I mean, I got
fair
up to
range.
40 yesterday when messing around in Coriolis.
No, I've no engineering at all.
There you go. That makes a lot of sense
Kudos to
actually.
you. Respect.
Yeah, I was going to say
Paint job.
10 out of 10 for Iron Man. You know, that's certainly true.
I may not make waypoint 2. I'll get there.
My first expedition was Jaunt to Jax, and I didn't have enough time to fully engineer my Python. It had like a 21 light year jump range.
Ooh, that's a
It
long
was
way to
over
go in a
1,000
21 light
jumps.
year Python.
But while this is all going on, a CG was announced to bring in exploration data at Jax, which was the only place out in Colonia, which wasn't even called Colonia at the time. And so I made absolutely mint because I had so much exploration data because I'd done so many jumps. Everybody else with their fancy asps and anacondas did less than half the number of jumps that I did.
You and your fancy asp, yeah.
One insane dude who took an adder to Beagle Point with a purposely blown out canopy.
Oh, I heard about this, yeah. It's kind of... It's extreme, isn't it?
Didn't someone also drive to Colonia without a fuel scoop?
Yes.
That is very scary.
Yeah, didn't they get like an anaconda and basically fill it up completely with fuel tanks, and they just went all the way? Did they actually make it all the way? I think they made it like 90% of the way and they had to stop. They're called the fuel rats.
I think the idea there is that
Yeah, Isham's reach with that fuel scoop was achieved. I remember because we're going to do. Hold
the
on,
thing
I'm
is you
losing.
use more fuel by jumping long range, but if you go the economic route, then you know you just sip just little sips at the fuel. If you go like 2 to 4 light years at a time. So if you've actually got a good, FTL drive.
The challenge comes at the end, is when you,
Yes.
especially if you go into Isham's reach, because you've got to make some quite big jumps when you
That's
get out
true,
to
yeah.
where it's thin.
Yes.
Interesting, though. I mean, that is definitely an extreme challenge. I don't know if I've got the patience to do something like that. I did think about it once to see what would happen, but I thought, I'm not going to get further than Colonia that way, you know.
You will get a heck of a lot of exploration done.
Oh, yeah, certainly. You could have mapped half the galaxy that way. I'm sure the person who went to Isham's Reach like that probably thought that I'm never doing this ever again, not playing Elite for next year or probably after that.
I wonder if they self-destructed or made their way back some other way.
Oh, wow. We will see. I think in the area of carriers, it's always easy to get back from anywhere, because as long as you can find a carrier willing to take you, you're alright.
Didn't have carriers on Distant Worlds 2.
Nope.
Once you pass the center of the galaxy between there and Beagle Point, if you manage to prang it in, oof.
Yeah.
Well, we did have the backup point in Sagae, but nothing else.
Yeah. I like Distant Worlds too. It was fun.
Oh,
on
yeah.
the planet. Oh, that is a nice view of the gas giant. But for
Still got about 20-ish jumps, I think. I have to double check that. Yeah, 20 jumps. I think I'll make it before I stop the stream, actually. That would be a good idea. I might end it hanging over the world in orbit. That'd be quite a cool way to play it out. Show some of the drama that we've been traveling for.
I thought about touching down on the nearest spot I could find, but then I saw there are these geological signals,
Yeah.
and so I'm relocating to one of them for first touchdown.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of geosites there, so that's it gives you choice.
Yeah.
At least the places that you can travel to quite easily.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Which of them?
I think I'm gonna log off. It's already like 9:30 in the morning.
Oh wow.
Well,
respect,
have fun.
sir. Respect.
Yeah, right. See you guys.
See ya.
Nice,
Have a
good
good one.
sir.
Good
Bye.
to meet you. Cool.
Jet, I'm gonna fly to the 9th one.
Okay.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Are we gonna plant the German flag there?
See, this is one thing that's missing from Odyssey. It's like you're on foot and everything, but you can't actually plant a flag of, like, you know, your group or your country or whatever. It's a shame.
That is a missed opportunity.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh my. Oh yeah, man, that is so true. I mean, Kerbal Space Program, you can plant a flag. Why can't you plant a flag in Elite Dangerous?
It's simple, isn't
Yeah.
it? You would have thought, but no, they don't have it. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
Should
They
have
could
that.
sell the flags for arts
can't-
as well.
That's what they'd end up
Can't
doing.
have
Yeah.
the proper Armstrong moment if you don't put up the flag.
Well, exactly, yeah. Gotta have that. It's gotta be good.
If there's obviously flagging it.
Yeah.
Oh, it had to be said. Look
Yeah.
at the size of your
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Because that's the thing. It's like you can buy paint jobs, all these kind of national flags for the Cobra Mark III. It's like, you know, and then
Yeah.
maybe you could put I don't know, you know, the elite symbol as another flag option. There's all kinds of things that you could do just within the game's lore. You know, that'd be really cool to have. Someone probably try and claim it
Hopefully
behind
they don't
the.
end up like. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Keep talking. That's
I
cool.
was- I was just saying. I was like, hopefully it doesn't end up like if they do something like that. Like, do any of you play No Man's Sky?
No, not
I
really.
just started playing No Man's Sky.
I'm looking
If
into
you've
it as
ever
well.
been
Yeah.
to a populated system where they can put down like a little text beacon? As soon as you drop into the planet, it's just like, oh, great, nightmare fuel, because you'll see all these things just like all over the planet,
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh, cool. So, and most of them are just ancient memes that have been there since the start of the game.
Oh yeah. Oh dear, you know, I just thought of something. You know, somebody's gonna abuse that. Somebody is so gonna. If you have if you have a flag,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna abuse it.
Someone always does, unfortunately.
Somebody's gonna put a dick butt on Eagle's Point.
I was just getting ready to say that. So
That's
he's
why I'm
gonna
thinking
put
they
one
won't
of
allow
those
you
on
to
there.
have custom flags. You'll have to like pick one they've already made in game. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
you would get people doing all kinds of things like that. So.
Ah,
No,
but then
no.
you get a whole bunch of flags,
Yeah,
and you put
exactly.
them out.
Exactly.
In the formation. Yeah.
In the formation.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I imagine there would be some custom flags, but they'd be custom like the emblem for Distant Worlds 2, you know,
Yeah.
is custom. It's approved.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been cool. And that's a good Explorer one, you know, to have Distant Worlds or, you know, anything other
Mhm.
pre-approved one. I'm thinking of what you can use as a decal at the moment. Just any of those would be cool.
Mm-hmm. You know, I claim this planet in the name of Eiling Duval.
Yeah, or not, depending on if you're a fan. I was thinking that with the like elite one, you could say I claim it in behalf of the Pilots Federation, and you put it into the.
I just said
the
it because,
ground.
you know, it's kind of
Yeah.
contractually obligated right there, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to say it.
Fair enough. Someone's going to claim it in the name of the Empire anyway, because you know it's good to be bad. Who doesn't
Yes,
being
of
the
course.
bad guy? Yeah.
But are they really the bad
Empire's
guys?
not the bad guys; they're the good guys.
Yeah, but you know what I mean,
Depends
though.
on your
isn't it?
perspective.
In lots of things, it's fun to be the bad guy in inverted commas.
You just wait until someone claims Raxla in the name of the Federation.
Yeah, that'll start a war.
Yeah, they're in the FSS thing for worlds, but they're a rocky ice world. Hold on, I've hung up here.
Is anyone hanging around for the North America meet?
Me.
Cool.
In fact, I haven't. I've spawned in on the carrier, but I've not launched yet.
Okay. No, I thought someone might be. I thought someone's probably going to be around to curiosity for the European one and then hang around for the North American later on, which is totally fine. I think some people have tried to go to all three, or will end up going to all three, because obviously the Pacific meetup doesn't happen until like a day ahead of the first two. So it's like, yeah, that's hardcore if you go to all three.
I must say the view is awesome.
I think I remember, actually, I did go to all three for the launch of Apollo 11, and I don't think it was a good idea to go to all three. I was a bit tired by the end of it, to say the least. Yeah.
Oh,
Not as young.
there.
Not as young as we once were.
Who is that?
Yeah, time works in one direction, generally speaking, so yeah.
Is Chewcat in our voice? No.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think there might just be...
Because he's jumping in front of me.
Oh, okay. Someone in the Discord then, so yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, there's a lot of people I have met before for this. But that's always good to know new people.
Whoops. All right, let me amend what I said earlier. I'm not at the carrier. I'm at Hind Mine.
Oh, okay. It's an interesting one though, because it's an asteroid base, isn't it? So I like that.
I brought a couple of other ships along with me, and they are on the carrier. But I decided, just in case that the carrier, I'm not sure of the carrier's schedule.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure not to miss the North American launch. If the carrier launched beforehand, well, I'll just catch up to my ships, but I don't want to miss the actual North American launch.
Sure.
So I parked at the Hind Mine.
That's understandable, yeah. I think there should be a fair turnout for the North American one, based upon just like the history of these things and the people I know who are obviously from North America as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the Pacific one that tends to be a bit more sparsely attended because there just aren't as many people playing the game in that sort of region. It's a very broad region though, the Pacific, to say the least. You know.
We're talking like Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, people in Japan, anywhere in East Asia really, and also anyone actually from North America who's on the Pacific coast if they want to do that as well. Because the main guy who's organising at Code 10, he's based in Hawaii at the moment, so you can see why he would want to lead that one, being sort of in the middle of the Pacific like he is. So you know.
Right. And just just cover the entire Pacific with it, because it's kind of like, well, he's equidistant to everybody.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, exactly. It's like we had to try and because we had enough people for one other time zone, and it's a big time zone, I'll admit. It covers almost half the world, but yeah, it's the only way of really doing it. Because otherwise we'd have needed yet another one if we did East Asia and the Pacific, or Asia and Pacific. But then it would have just been it would have gotten really, really complicated. But I suppose we could have done it if there'd been enough people wanting to do it. As with always with these things, there's enough people around, and there's usually where there's a will, there's a way. So, yeah. But I do love the global nature of this game. It really is. I mean, obviously the internet itself is global, but this community genuinely is truly international. I think it is mostly Northern Hemisphere though, apart from places like Australia and New Zealand. I think the odd person from South America. There's a fairly substantial Brazilian community in the game. So
oh yeah,
that's interesting.
Oh, over in DC Universe Online, there's a really sizable Brazilian contingent. I mean,
oh yeah.
You keep an eye on general chat over there. It's like Portuguese all the time.
Yeah.
Marder X is one of our neighbours. One of the neighbours to the EIC in the back in the bubble. Yes, anyway, Windows decides to crash and then it decides to run an update.
Hey! Hey, Jed.
Yeah, I always deliberately try and keep these things out of the way before Expedition, so I get all the updates done, so I don't have this kind of crap getting in the way. Ah, dear.
Where's my jump on my SRV not working?
Yeah, and hello to everyone else in the chat who hasn't either spoken so far or, is doing other things. It's okay to lurk, it really is, it's fine. But it's good that we sort of acknowledge you as well. And also to those people still listening on Twitch, or watching this on Twitch, I should say. Hello to you.
I am
all.
watching you jump on Twitch there. I don't know exactly. I mean, it's just, star after star after star. You're just...
Yeah, I'm kind of buckyballing at the moment because I've got a terrible jump range and I kind of have to be at the waypoint for organizational reasons.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would be watching you, but I'm playing on all of my monitors right now.
Yeah. I think the lag isn't too much either from... I hope it's not that long anyway.
I'm tempted to try and see if I can do a little bit of an impromptu stream on Discord.
Okay. We have tried that in the past. It's the quality's not amazing, I will say, but it is okay. I think the quality is definitely less than Twitch or YouTube. It's not bad.
Yannick,
Hi.
will you be staying to the waypoint till I get there?
I'll probably log out not that long afterwards, I reckon, but I'll be getting to the waypoint in the next sort of 10 or 15 minutes, I reckon. I'll be around for a little bit because I just wanted to check a few things before I sign off, but yeah.
I shall only be taking about a week.
Yeah, I think I moved on by that point, yeah.
I'm doing really well actually. I've only got 166 jobs to do.
Well, that's not too bad. You have the patience of a saint to do that.
I am scanning planets as I go.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough.
You're gonna have a metric buttload of exploration data.
I was
to
going to say,
drop
if
off.
you're not already exploration elite, you're going to be by the end of this.
You might be able to even prestige your elite.
I'm already on the way there. I've got a very flat bum.
Right.
No, I say that. I've just got a new chairs. Happy day.
One of the things I've wish I could get done, I just don't have room to do it. But if I ever did, I'd love to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to find one of those old, or make one because they're really kind of very simple. The version 3.0 Virtual World game pods, if you remember those. And I specifically mentioned the version 3.0 because they're basically just a box with a sliding closed door, and you set up I imagine you could set up a pretty good basic cockpit inside, and and with a good sound system, and I don't know, wire up your PC to, I don't know, be behind the seat or something like that.
Yeah.
By a nice joystick and throttle. Boom, ready to go. And maybe set up a cup. Maybe have a big main screen. Maybe another couple of smaller ones for informational displays.
I did think about building a Cobra, a sidey, and a wooden gun. One-to-one scale.
I think you're very quiet. We
That
can
it-
barely hear you there. It was like a whisper.
Oh, sorry. Hang on, let's see if I can do this.
We can hear you, but we have to make sure nobody else is talking.
Yeah, it's very quiet.
I heard you mention regional representation. Hello from Nairobi, from Cookid Grenade 64.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Okay, that's interesting. Regional representation, yeah. No, it's true. It's well, hello to you, but also it's like I don't think we've got many commanders in that part of the world. I'm trying to think actually. It's like I've seen South African ones before, but I don't remember anyone from East Africa. So hello to you. Awesome. See, but I say this is what we're talking about, global nature of this. But this is the way, isn't it? If you've got an internet connection, that has enough bandwidth, then you can do this.
Yeah.
No matter where you are. But as I say, I must admit, I have very little knowledge about the infrastructure of Kenya. But yeah.
How's my volume now?
I think that's a little
That's
better.
a bit better, actually. Yeah.
That's the most I can push out.
Okay. That's audible.
I think that's sufficient.
As I was saying, I'd have liked to build a real scale Sidewinder in the garden.
Oh yeah.
Are you talking about just the cockpit?
My partner took one look at me and gave me that look that says, "You can, but you won't live long enough to get in it."
Yeah.
So yeah, would have been nice though.
Even a Sidey is actually pretty big compared to.
32 foot long, wide.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I memorised the plan.
There are some fighters in the world that are aviation, of course, that are like that kind of size. So it's small by our standards, but
I think the Federation version. Wait, hold on, let me think. Core Dynamics version. The ship launched fighter that's just that little wedge.
Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about. It's not the Taipan, it's not the Imperial fighter, it's the other one. I think that one's the smallest in terms of actual area.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's not a side.
The Condor, F-86 Condor.
Hmm.
Yep.
Who said Condor?
Me.
Oh.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it's Condor.
I'm trying to think about the different groups that I've encountered in Elite that have some numbers. I've seen recently a few people from the UAE in exploration circles. That's true.
I could see that.
Yeah, I've seen a few from Israel in the past as well. I've done a couple of commanders who are from there. So
right.
But yeah, I'm just trying to think of some of the more sort of unusual, seemingly out of the way places. It's I think the Israelis have quite a good infrastructure, and that I think the UAE does as well. So again, they're not really surprising places. But yeah, there's
I'm in Norfolk. Does that count?
Sorry.
I'm in Norfolk.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know what internet is like. It's like some bits of Norfolk, the internet's probably worse than it is in Abu Dhabi, but you know, some bits of it are probably quite good. It isn't like a whole region. It's like just bits of regions. Sometimes have really good internet, and the other bits don't.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Are we talking about Norfolk?
Norfolk, England, is not Norfolk, Virginia.
That's what I was. That's my question. Yeah, you got.
Norfolk
Okay, that
has
answers
a
that.
reputation for being a little bit behind the times.
Yeah. I think that's the sort of stereotype that we were sort of alluding to jokingly. But the truth is, I'm just talking about the UK here, and it's like my knowledge of it. It is true that sometimes, like, it's very uneven, the quality of different internet in different places. I mean, some cities have surprisingly bad internet, then you've got some rural communities surprisingly good internet. It doesn't always work in the way that you would think. So yeah, it's strange.
Well, we've got our internet sorted out. We've got 2 good hamsters that are working the wheel really well.
Oh, bless those hamsters. They'll work themselves to death for you.
We've got ourselves our elastic trickery, and we're well away.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah, the old hamsters doing their bit.
All bless the hamsters.
Absolutely. There was that joke about, you know, at Frontier, there was always these hamsters going round, and every time, like, we were trying to do a mass jump, they'd have to put a few more hamsters on.
Damn, you've discovered my drive.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were making screenshots. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
You just crashed into a planet or something?
No, we were just crashing into each other.
Whoops.
If you're going to crash into a planet, make sure you've got the flag.
Yeah. So you can plant your anaconda like a flag.
That's it. You can plant the flag on the planet.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
That's the lawn dart version of doing that.
You can imagine getting all the way to Beagle Point and then being sent all the way back to the bubble.
Oh, that would hurt.
Oh, that would hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's ixnay on the litho breaking.
That was fun. Yeah. No, I mean, Mac's always one of the best sorts of advocates for not using litho braking. There's his much-tailed story of his cutter destruction in Distant Worlds.
Yes, that was desperately unfortunate.
Yeah. I think to give credit to you, Mac, you've actually been quite brave about it. A lot of people would just try and like forget about that quietly and just pretend it never happened, but you're sort of more than willing to admit to like litho braking is not a good idea, even in a big ship that you think can take it, you know.
Well, there was that one video. Go ahead. Sorry.
I've actually since landed on that planet. I think in the last, it was another one of your expeditions actually.
Cool.
Where we ended up. What was the last one you did? I think it was that one.
Mercury's Wings.
Yeah, I think
maybe
it might be
Orion,
Mercury's
possibly
Wings.
before that. I think I remember you being on Orion. Yeah.
I think it might have been Mercury's Wings. It was the one where we delivered the fleet carrier.
Oh, Mercury's Wings then, yeah.
Yeah, it was on the way back to Colonia. I had to stop off at the Planet of Shame and land on it to slay that demon.
Fair enough.
Well, good on you for getting back on the horse there.
Yeah, definitely.
The tragic thing, I was within sight. I could actually. This place. It's just within sight of the Colonia Nebula. You can just start to see it coming into the skybox. And I was just landing for the night, and I thought, oh well, bit of a descent rate going here. Oh, I've got shields. I'll just bounce off and then land.
It'll be
and
fine.
then
Yeah.
I felt like such an idiot as the ship exploded around me, and I just sat there like stunned at the rebuy screen. It was,
as you do.
Yes.
Oh, I feel for you.
Yeah, no, that's pretty galling, but hence why you've actually got sort of, you know, a lot of guts there to actually admit to such a big mistake as well, because yeah, a lot of people wouldn't admit to something that big, or they'd blame it on something else, like, you know, bad connection or something.
Oh, just FYI for anybody who's not actually on his screen, Yannick, I think, is at his destination.
Yeah, I've just arrived there right now, as you may be able to
actually
see.
just arrived as
Oh, cool. Yeah. I might touch down. I don't know yet. I'm just gonna at least like orbit the planet a little bit to give people some idea. And as you can see me selecting it in the live stream. So yeah, the delay can't be very much because I've only did that about maybe 30 seconds ago or less. So it's less than 30 seconds delay. So that's good for a longer stream. That's not that bad actually.
It was 4B, right?
Yes, I think so.
Have you all ever been killed by a pirate ship at Sag A?
Not that I remember, no.
Yeah,
on Distant
actually,
Worlds 2, I was interdicted by a NPC pirate, but I had no weapons, so I rammed the NPC pirate to death.
That sounds like a good
I
use of
recently
time.
It was
I
like
recently saw
literally my first trip, and get there because I had one of the mugs in my cargo hold, and I guess he really wanted it really bad.
It's a legendary
I
mug,
actually
though.
had to get a hold of. Well, I had to get a hold of one of the. I guess one of the GMs, because I was like, I thought there was nobody else out here, and they actually were like really nice about it. And he was like, "Oh, hey, I guess he's a little space mad," and restored everything for me. I was like,
Yeah, they can be pretty
he's
cool
A little
like
upset
that.
about it.
Yeah. I think it's a rule of thumb. They will tend to be like quite kind like that, as long as you're not like a regular customer of theirs. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm approaching the gas giant and water world as well, combo, and the world we're going to be landing on. There's actually another lander not far away as well, also orbiting the same gas giant. Actually, for the stream's sake, I might as well actually do the full exploration bits and bobs, as it were. I think I came here in my old account last. That's why it hasn't actually been scanned properly. Yeah, that makes sense now.
We are currently lining up our ships on the surface at one of the geosites.
Awesome, awesome.
Funny, I managed to discover something significant enough that it actually got added to EDSM, based purely on the fact that I was on an aborted repair run because I was headed towards this guy who needed some hull repair, and somebody else just happened to log on who was much closer.
Yeah.
I go, oh, okay, never mind. I'll let you take it. And then I looked around at the system that I had just currently jumped into, and there's 2 neutron stars and an S-type supergiant.
That's crazy. What a coincidence.
Good find. Though.
Yeah, if you look on EDSM, it's Gates of Tartarus. That's mine. Although somebody beat me back to the actual login and got the actual system registered before I could get back.
Oh no.
Although I did get the scan data for a couple of the minor planets, so my name is actually in the system there, just not prominently for the whole one.
Yeah.
So I got I at least got the mapping credit for a couple of the small worlds.
Well, that's cool. Oh, it's always nice if you can get that on the Galactic Mapping Project for EDSL.
Yeah, I only have one other, and that was the one that called Born to the Purple. I jumped into this O-class supergiant star, but it was a just incredibly violet purple. That plus the fact that you had a number like about four, like 2 or 3 other P-Tauri stars in the same system, and it just sort of reinforced the whole purple glow everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to the gas giant, and it's just this purple gas giant. And I think it's still, I wager that's probably still the way it is, even in Odyssey. I hope.
This is the thing, the Odyssey lighting has changed the way even like gas giants look, and not just landable worlds.
Is anyone currently on the planet?
Let's come closer.
Although this being because of, I think this was more due to the light of the star, but who knows?
Mm-hmm. I've got a very nice view on the stream at the moment with the
yes he does.
Sorry, no, it's like the water world hanging there, and it's quite amazing. Obviously, like you've got this huge moon in comparison, like to the mass of this water world. But yeah, I always love these kind of epic views. And you've also then you look in a different direction. You've got the gas giant that they're both orbiting around. I'll go to external cam for this as well. So I'm just hanging there in midair like a brick, or in the way that bricks don't, I should say more accurately.
I loved how in the TV version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the Vogon constructor fleet was actually colored yellow, like Caterpillar construction equipment.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? It's a wonderful series.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're a fan. It's one of those things that people either get the reference or they don't think like, what?
Oh, don't worry. I may be Texan, but I'm a hoopy fruit.
No, I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of Americans I met who have got like a pretty sort of diverse sense of humor and like a lot of, humor from all kinds of different places. It isn't just, indigenous American comics. Some people obviously are very sort of globally minded, and because I know there's certain negative stereotypes about every group of people in the world, and obviously American stereotypes tend to be like inward-looking people, but I've met so many Americans who just aren't that way at all. They're very internationalist, so yeah. It's exactly that, isn't it? But yeah, stereotypes are not useful most of the time.
Just ignore everything from 2016 up. It would be alright.
Yeah.
Well,
it's been kind of a
here's a little bit.
Few years.
Well, here a little bit of interesting TV history here. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there was a public broadcasting station, PBS, Channel 13, whose station manager was an enormous fan of British comedies and science fiction. So I think, I could be wrong, but I think we might have been the very first market in the U.S. to get Doctor Who.
That's interesting.
And the first to get, and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Monty Python and all that.
When I lived in Houston, they showed Red Dwarf on PBS.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yes, that's where I saw it.
Awesome. Someone at PBS knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the station. Some places don't. Some places treat it like just, this is the educational programming for the school and don't do anything with it. And then there are others like Dallas where it's like, you got somebody with pretty forward thinking like that station manager.
Yeah.
So PBS there was where I first saw Doctor Who, Blake 7.
Ooh, Blake 7.
You know, like I said, Monty Python.
Benny Hill.
Yeah, Benny Hill. Benny Hill, yeah.
To be fair, I always
even-
try and talk up like Blake 7 and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, especially Blake 7, because not many people know it. And most people who do know it really love it, but it's one of those amazing TV series that kind of slips through the cracks for most people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to see that there are, so you say, station managers who've actually got the right idea as well, like, you know, showing like diversity of programming.
Yeah.
You definitely need some of that in the world, I think, you know.
Oh yeah. And I think it wasn't the PBS station, but it was the local independent station for profit in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that was carrying the syndicated Space 1999.
Right.
And I love that program. It's, you know, you look back on it now and it's absolutely shit for science. It's just, what were you thinking? It doesn't blast the moon out of it. Doesn't work that way. I don't care. I don't care. It's a beautiful show. Plus, I'm a huge fan of the Eagle.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
As of design, there's only one slight nitpick I would ever have with the Eagle transporter, and that's it. And that's, if you look at it closely, there is no side-to-side RCS translation. I found this out because somebody had actually done a completely accurate model of it in Kerbal Space Program, and I discovered, oh, I can't shift left or right with this thing. I got to add another bit of RCS to it.
So it's pretty detailed then, by the sounds of this model.
Yeah.
I like.
And people were saying, well, where's the fuel tanks? And I'm like going, it's nuclear. It doesn't have to have very large fuel tanks.
True.
Well, it should have remass.
I'm sorry, it should have what?
Reaction mass.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, but I think it did. But I think also, if you consider that the landing legs don't actually take up very much space in the actual pods on the sides, I think a fair amount of fuel tankage can be in those.
I must admit, I've not played that much Kerbal, but I do like some of the recreations that people have done of a lot of historic sort of spacecraft as well as the kind of experimental stuff you're talking about as well, or even like, you know, completely fantasy stuff. But yeah, it's a genuinely great game. I mean, I've done it a little bit, but I'm not like very experienced in Kerbal. But it's genuinely great though.
I'm actually rather proud of myself because I've made Thunderbird 2 work. It does involve making the wings a little bit bigger and pushing them a little further back for the balance.
Sure.
But otherwise, it's perfect.
That's an interesting project.
Yeah. And I actually got it to where I could actually make it VTOL too. With a significant cargo load. I just couldn't. The only thing I couldn't do is you really can't do the sort of modular pod thing properly.
Yeah.
You just have to go ahead and just make it an underslung hangar door thing, and well, there you go. It works.
I think I should
So
look
I'm
into
gonna go
Kerbal
now.
more. Okay, cool. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, see you at the next waypoint.
Okay, see you then.
Bye.
Yeah, we will be meeting tomorrow around the same time. The waypoint so this meetup should last for a bit longer. The service meets tend to be about approximately 2 hours. Sometimes they go slightly longer, but they're usually around 2 hours. Yeah, and ending with a mass jump for those of you who haven't done it before. But it's all good. We have a lot of fun with these, unsurprisingly. In a world similar to this. I hope you find a way to boost your speed in that, or get a hitch from somebody. It's going to be.
I've only got 160 jumps to go now. I'm speeding.
Oh well.
It's acceleration. You're not allowed to go fast.
Not too fast. Not recklessly fast.
A big 07 from me, sir. You
respects.
go.
Genuine respects. Yeah.
You lot are gonna scoff like anything when I find Rexler on the way.
Oh wow. Yeah.
If anybody, making tiny little jumps that go in between the big ones, hey, you never know.
Oh, anything's possible.
In chat, we've just found, I don't know how you pronounce it, Akalopt 0S. Greetings, commanders from Ayakulu Fukos Kira, then, possibly. Apparently, that's for the pronunciation. Just started the journey from Tutori. Fly safe, everyone. Yep, absolutely, we will. For anyone, if I mispronounce your names by mistake, it is entirely unintentional. But there you have it. But yeah, we will be definitely having some fun tomorrow at this rather interesting looking world. And there's definitely a lot of cool geological sites there with the lovely sort of
They're
barbecue
canyons.
territory. Are you looking to the chat? Yeah. It's interesting, yeah, different players we have from all over the place. But yeah, it's the first person from East Africa I've encountered in Elite so far. There's probably a few more somewhere, I'm sure. But yeah, no, that's cool. I think I encountered a Nigerian commando once as well, but it's West Africa, isn't it? So it's a different region. Yeah. But it's all cool though. I think I'm gonna actually call it quits myself now. But thank you everyone for a delightful evening and a very good launch. And I will see you at 1800 in-game time UTC tomorrow for some more fun and shenanigans. Also in the chat, thank you Z Engineer and 07 to you, and good night. And good night to everyone out there in Twitch land as well. It's been great having you along, and we'll hope we have some more fun for you tomorrow. And to everyone in Discord as well. Thank you for turning up, and I will see you all soon. 07 Commanders.
Pod 7.
Have fun. Sleep safe.
Ya.